And now for our feature presentation.
Hello, all you sexy biscuits out there. This is the Untitled Movie Show for Wednesday, July 22nd, 2015. I'm, of course, your host with the most.
You owe me AdSense every time you say that.
Oh, you owe me a new intro then, because you just fucked up mine. So you get introduced last. How about that? Tonight we're going to be finishing up our Defending Bad Movies series with Mr. Lawn Boys himself, but he gets to wait last because I'm going to introduce everybody else. We've got Miss Annina Kasky.
Hello, good to be back.
Yeah, I was actually just
from
about to.
New York.
How was it there? Was it fun?
Amazing. Absolutely.
Dun, 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 dun.
I won't start singing because we want to keep.
Hey, we might actually get more subs if you do so. Oh no, you can't because then I have to pay rights.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you can make it anywhere, you can make it there.
Yeah, but the thing is, I sound like a cat being tortured when I sing, so I don't think it's a.
Oh, you don't want to say that. You're trying to get jobs in theater. That might turn people off.
Yeah, but know your strengths. I'm a straight actress, not a musical theatre person.
Dig up, Annina. Dig up.
And if you heard the voice in the background, ladies and gentlemen, he's back from the dead. We've got Mr. Michael Burhan.
Yeah, for one night only, ladies and gentlemen. Just basically because I am being called out by family to kind of stay at their place for the night due to the fact I've got minions over. So I'm doing the dadly duties up until Monday. So I'm going to be here.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good because you get to spend some time with.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's enjoyable apart from my son who's got a bump on his head. Thanks to my brother deciding to do a test of strength. So yeah.
What?
He basically wanted to show how strong he was at carrying the children, and he fell off and went headfirst into a fridge.
Oh, did he blade?
He didn't. Luckily enough, he didn't.
Okay.
I was expecting him to go woo afterwards, but he didn't. He just cried, and then I had to give him a hug. And he stayed on me. I was like sitting there trying to edit some videos, and he just sat on my lap, put a pillow on there, and went, "My head hurts," and I'm like, "I can't move." Okay.
Don't worry, son. One day when you grow up, you'll do that to yourself through alcohol. This is good preparation.
Yeah, but it's fine. Apart from that, yeah, all's good. You know, it's nice having a bed to sleep in for a bit and having my equipment here in front of me. I've got some good videos that I've been doing for the last couple of days. Can be uploading those. Before the channel
I got to say, Burhan, when I saw your videos pop up in my feed, I was just like, I thought you were in a tent somewhere. How the fuck are you making videos?
Yeah, and that was the fun part. I basically spent, I think it was the whole of Battleground in Oxford in a tent, in a sleeping bag, which was great, and didn't work.
Did it work? Did it work out?
It did. I basically spent my time, like I go into kind of wooded areas, parks, places where
oh my god, you were dogging.
That funny. Well, I don't get disturbed.
Dogging.
Exactly.
Oh.
I don't get disturbed. I basically stay in the tent.
The next time you see
and then I get up at 6 a.m., which is a great thing. But I am looking at a couple of places that I want to go to. Morocco's looking at an option at the moment. So
did you get yourself a decent sleep mat? You know, to separate yourself from.
I've got basically a sleeping bag. That's what it has. It has that extra thick layer on it. So
you're still gonna need something to separate you from the ground. Trust me.
Well, I've got a pop-up tent, which
you don't even have to buy a proper one. You can just go to fucking B&Q and buy a slab of insulation.
Yeah, but it's about.
Actually, that will be the way. That will be the way to do it because
you can
that
do
will
it
only
if
be
you
a fight. Oh, you prick.
Well, anyway.
Well, just as a heads up, they do have. I'm looking at a list of video editing apps for iOS. So if you ever decide to record stuff and you still want to upload it, I mean, it's there. I mean, you might have to waste battery power, but
yeah, I'm looking at doing the Magus way of doing things, as I call it. I said that to Magus the other day. Is where I upload.
What offending a massive amount of people?
Well, that's his thing. That's his shtick. That's what he does. But not just that. It's what I'll do is record any footage I have on the iPhone, upload it straight to YouTube Raw, without any editing and stuff, and just cover where I am in certain places. I'll see if I can download a bit of software. Maybe I'll be able to upload an intro or something onto my phone so I can add it on.
Personally, I think when you're out in the wild, Burhan, it'll be just better for you to just film and straight up, upload off your iPhone.
Yeah,
I think-
that's
I think-
kind of the thing at the moment, and the channel's got a very good influx of new subscribers and stuff, so that really helps at the moment.
Can I just say I'm playing around after the pilot that I still need to get around to editing my bit for the guys at Ghastly Tales. I'm really now I'm used to it, and I know it's audio only, but I'm really enjoying Audacity. What a great free program!
It's a great little program. I use it for a lot of my audio editing needs. That and also Adobe Audition. And a lot of it is because it has the audio filters enclosed on these things that you can just do whatever the fuck you want with. So it's great. And Audacity is basically like a simplified version of Audition. So if you guys don't pay for an Adobe license, Audacity is your next best bet.
I gotta look through
use
my
it for my
Adobe
voice reel.
programs because I got the whole master suite for CS3. I gotta check to see because right now I'm using After Effects, but I gotta think there's a better program out here because I got all sorts. I got Premiere. I got
Premiere is a
Sound
great software as well. It's great for video editing. Currently, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go to Hit Film's website, you can get Hit Film Express absolutely free. It's a video and audio editing software. You can do stuff like chroma keying and all other little visual techniques. It's like the software itself's worth about £300-400 anyway, so you can download it absolutely free at the moment. And all you need to do is create a login and create a password, and you get it for free, and you can use it, and it's ready to go.
Is it really for free, or is it like
it's for free? If you
time trial?
if you want the pro stuff,
Does it put like a watermark on?
No
stuff. Though?
No watermarks or nothing like that. If you want like extra plugins to make it look more crisp, or to add certain video effects that you can only see in cinemas, you would have to pay for like a full pro version. If you want the simplified version, which is what this one is, includes some simplified plugins and bits and pieces. It's like a step. I'd say it's a step down from Vegas, but a step up from Windows Movie Maker in its current form. If you get it in the pro form, you're basically playing with power, as they would say. Well, I think was that Nintendo that used to say that you're playing with power.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go, ladies and gents. So if you want to go to Hit Film's website at the moment,
Every time
hitfilm.com.
someone says now I'm playing with power, my brain just automatically thinks of let's wait 3 months so we actually get Super Mario Brothers 3.
So should I just add a Burhanism into this, because I'm not going to be on any of the other shows this week anyway. But apparently, one of the tech tutorial websites have posted a video where you can actually get a sensor attached to your madness, so when you're playing a game, you're actually playing with yourself.
Oh, they've had stuff like that on and off.
That's just wrong on
That
so
is,
many
yeah.
levels.
Yeah, they've had that on and off. There have been like, interactive, peripherals that, will connect to whatever video player you've got, and then
He
as
soiled
the action on.
the Atari 2600 though, Dave. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I've always thought this would be funny if somebody had like one of those attached and they were watching a porn, and then you switch it over and it's like basketball and just rips it off. You just switch it over. You just grab the remote and switch it over to something really violent like WWE or something. It just
Yeah,
tears
I was
the
actually
cover off.
sitting there thinking about it. I was like, imagine using that thing to play Punch Out.
Yeah.
You'd probably be like going hard at that. You probably wouldn't be doing anything for about a month.
It would look like The Rock's finger in that Instagram video.
Yeah, I sent basically a copy of the article in question to Rob, man. I was like, hey, you can stream while you stream. And Rob just started laughing.
Ooh.
He goes, I really would be twitching, but I'm sure.
Speaking of, well, actually, Dave, have you learned your lesson? Not to
don't know.
interrupt the intro of the show.
Oh, I have now. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen,
Don't spank me.
oh, you have to pay extra for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the third member of tonight's show, Mr. Dave Wade.
Sorry, people. I've been demoted.
Plus, he's got a
No,
very
just-
sounding name, Dave,
I'm-
so that
I'm
does cost you
literally- I'm
extra on some
literally a-
websites. Just saying.
I'm a B movie right now. Fuck.
You're a B
Oh
movie.
my god, I'm Rutger Hauer.
Hey, you're not a B movie. You're an
Stop
asylum
bleaching
movie.
your hair, then.
You're an asylum movie, Dave.
Actually, I can't be a B movie because I have perfect hair.
You're Sharknado.
Shut. Oh, you prick! Now you
Oh,
just ruined
that's
everything.
lower than B. That's like Z list film.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more along the lines.
I ran out of toilet paper once, and the only thing I could find to wipe my ass was a copy of that movie.
Quite angular.
You know what?
So it had its moments because I could really cram it in. Never mind.
I'm gonna compare you to one of my favorite recent B movies. You're the Olympus Has Fallen of co-hosts. That's a great movie, by the way. I love that movie.
I love that movie. Can you excuse me? I'm about to have a sneezing fit, so I'm just going to mute you.
Okay.
Speaking of movies I like, I actually watched Ant-Man recently and Terminator Genesis, and I have to say I loved Ant-Man. I thought I was going to hate it for all the changes they made, but they made it work. I'm gonna hold my hand up there, Marvel. I doff my hat to you.
I've heard that it fits. I've heard that it really goes through the motions of what most people would call the typical Marvel movie, which is not bad. I mean, Marvel movies do have a certain flow to them that you kind of have gotten used to.
I kind of disagree. It's very different in terms of Marvel movie because it stands by a lot more on story than it's kind of like. Do you know like one of those superhero movies where they just start getting the ability? So it reminds me a lot of Iron Man 1. Because he learns to walk using this suit. Hank Pym, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. I will say Michael Douglas is amazing. I love like the way they established the villain, the way the story's told. I felt that to me it was it was well done, and people are gonna hate me for saying this. It was a much better in terms of Age of Ultron, which was more of an event Michael Bay-ish type movie. The movie that where it would have a lot more action sequences. This one was more of a better storyteller.
Or much better.
Better.
I think you find this.
I've got my book of Cockney rhymings here, Dave. If you want to learn.
And one film I saw recently, which I think is absolutely amazing, Inside Out by Pixar.
I mean, that's kind of a given. I don't think Pixar's really done a bad movie with the exception of Cars 2.
Not a bad one, but this goes beyond. This is a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece, even on their standards.
With them, they can always pull out a masterpiece, can't they? Because Pixar, they have no boundaries. It's like when Disney originally bought them out as well. They were allowed to do what they want, but they had to give them kind of their nitty gritty as well. You know, they had to. They could make the meat, but they still got to produce the veg, in a sense.
But what's really important about this film is it's about mental health.
I have to say this. Burhan, that's the worst analogy I've ever heard in my life.
Well, no, if it's a kid's analogy, kids don't like veggies. They like more the meat, don't they?
And then again, meat and 2 veg does mean something completely different.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I tried to play classy, but that was rough.
I was expecting it.
Anyway, as I was saying before it became dick jokes again. Inside Out is really, really important because it's about mental health in a very, kids will get it and adults will get it. It was the deepest animated film I've ever seen. I adored it. Absolutely adored it. I adored every single second of that animated film.
I didn't think it was out. Is it out?
Well, I saw it in New York.
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot we're third world country.
It's out on the weekend. Comes out on the weekend here in the UK.
But yeah, and Terminator Genesis. It's like a TV movie, but there are certain things that you like, and Arnie gets a lot of character development in this movie.
Angry Joe loves it.
Angry Joe loves everything. He loves blimmin'.
He didn't like Jurassic World.
Yeah, but again, he's kind of one of those guys who's like, contrary to popular opinion. If you're someone who loves the Terminator franchise, you're gonna hate Genesis. If you're someone who just enjoys a good movie and likes seeing Arnie back into his role as the Terminator, it was great. And there's a nice little caveat at the end as well. The story is very simplified, not very well written. The characters, Sarah Connor's character, and also
I heard it was shit, but the one saving grace of it is Arnie is properly full on.
Arnie's in top form. He actually is very well acted in this movie, but everybody else is very under. They try and pay homage. They try to show little scenes and significant parts from Terminator 1 and 2, but they get them wrong because, or they'll have to change it or skew it a little bit, because the movie's not the same rating as its predecessors. Secondly, the story is very all over the place, and there's certain things that you have to just accept it's like a Marvel movie. It's like Ultron, where certain things
Like
happen.
you said, you're describing it. It sounds like a TV movie.
Yeah, but it's like with Age of Ultron, where there's certain things you look at it and go, but you're contradicting what happened in the last movie. You just have to accept it. And that's kind of what happens with Genesis. And what it does is they try to do a Star Trek where they reboot the entire timeline using this movie. But there's certain things that don't make sense that you have to basically wait. Hopefully they'll fix these things in the second movie. And I'll say this, ladies and gents, if you can accept Godzilla for all the shit that movie was, you can accept
can't
this.
I kind of like it in a cheesy B movie sense.
Oh, I hated it. I was drunk, and even that didn't make it any better.
No, I hated it too, but if you can accept that, I think you can accept Terminator Genesis.
I can't.
Anybody who
No.
loves Godzilla and criticizes Terminator Genesis has no right to, because it's literally kind of the same thing, but it's kind of in reverse. You get to see a lot more of the Terminator in this. You get to see Arnie by the boat fall. You get to see a lot more additions to it. The time traveling thing, and people just like, it doesn't make sense. It's time traveling. It's fiction. It's not going to make sense. No one has actually managed to travel back through time or forward through time in reality. So again, you can play creative license with it. There has been some good, like I think there's a gentleman by the name of Oliver something. He works with Larry. Oliver, I think it's Ropart or something like that. No, Oliver Ropart, who does like movie reviews. And one of the things he said was, it doesn't make sense in the Terminator time traveling storyline, because what it tries to do is use equal parts of, it uses a lot of Terminator 1, a lot of Terminator 2, but smidgens of Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation to try and tie all these things together. Kind of the way that Silent Hill Revelations 3D tried to do things, where it was like jamming as much of the things that you loved about it without it all making sense. And that's what this kind of does. But I didn't hate it, and that's the thing. I would hate a movie like this, but I actually enjoyed it. I sat there, I left my hat at the door. I enjoyed the whole situation, the whole scenario that was going on in this movie.
I have seen the scene though. I found it, dodgily, allegedly on YouTube. I have to say that the scene where he finds himself from 1984 Terminator and shoots him in the face and shit like that, that reeked of Tron Legacy. Yeah, you don't really show up doing a fully CG realized version of your young self in.
Yeah, it does. That does look tacky, and I felt the budget, the what they've done with the budget, you don't understand why they've gone about and done it that way. But and again, as I said, it's, if you watch it, you'll sit there and go, you know what, I enjoyed that. You won't sit there and go, this is the best cinematically mastered, well-written performance.
You almost sound like Annina. This is the best cinematic film movie.
This is the best cinematic performance that you'll ever see. But it's one of those that you look at it and say, you know what?
You don't, Miguel. You don't get to see this. He's doing car insurance commercials in this country right now, and there's a brilliant one where he's driving along in his Hummer and two CG meerkats pop up next to him and just say, "I need your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle," and just goes, "What?" And then when it ends, they're all singing "I Think You're Alone Now" by Tiffany.
But again, you see that scene where he goes, "I need your clothes, your boots," and then you have Arnie, the future Arnie, come in and just go, what was it? He goes, "Don't bother getting changed," and I just cracked up with laughter because I sat there, I was like, "Oh, as I said, it's a sublime Arnie movie. It's one of those where you got a ton of puns." You even have the way that this Terminator is trying to humanize itself. The storyline is a bit different because they've altered it in certain ways as well.
Burhan, for our fan base. No spoilers.
But no, I haven't. I've tried not to spoil as much as I can for.
Do you know what
people.
though? The funniest
but it is
term
enjoyable.
I ever heard of Terminator 3 was by the Ghastly Tail Boys, and they actually referred to Terminator 3 as, that Terminator movie where he wears Elton John glasses.
Yeah, it's as I said, everything has its place in terms of that. Terminator, the problem is, and this is what they've pointed out, it's passed hands so many times, so you've had so many new people touching this. It's like basically passing on a robot, and someone has one, like, basically you have a device that Steve Jobs has had his hands on, so it's more simplified, marketable, and then you hand it over to basically the owner of Microsoft, what's his name?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. And then he basically gets his hands on it, so it becomes more very programmable use of fat, lazy in terms of coding, and then you hand it over to kind of Bethesda, who have no idea how to do anything with hardware, but then they take a kick at it, and then it goes over to Nvidia, who try to get their kick at it, and eventually it's gonna be a bastardized version of what it originally was. The Terminator as a movie was only supposed to be one movie, and everyone's trying to turn it to a franchise. I think Genesis is a nice little reboot. It's a separate thing from the entire timeline. It pays homage, and it also has some unique kind of caveats to it as well. If you're a Terminator fan, you're probably going to get pissed off with this movie. If you're a film fan, you're not going to really think that this movie is a sublime piece of cinema. But if you're someone who likes action movies, who love the Star Trek movies, and who likes these kind of interdimensional timeline reboot type movies, you'll like this. And I enjoyed it. I felt it was good for what it was. Will I see it again? Yeah, I think I'd probably buy it on DVD and watch it again. But it's not one of those things that I'd probably go to cinema. And again, ladies and gents, I didn't pay for this. Someone actually let me, go and see these movies in the cinema with them. But it was something that I found enjoyable because someone took me to watch them. That's probably another thing. I didn't actually pay for a ticket, so.
Let me cut off the viewers at the pass. If Burhan is supposed to be homeless, how is he be able to see movies? Unsubscribe. There. Yes. Now we got that out of our system.
But that's the thing. But yeah, you wanted to go on about some news, actually, speaking about someone who's covered the Terminator before.
Yes and no. I actually just found another bit of news that I just wanted to touch on that
actually hang on, quickly. Miguel's right, Burhan. You have amazing Wi-Fi considering you're in a tent.
Yeah, I basically have a 4G Wi-Fi by 3. I'll give him a little bit of a plug here.
He's using his dong as an antenna.
Burhan, I was making a joke. You don't need to.
Well, if you go to free.go.uk, get some 4G broadband. It's actually faster than the current internet I'm using to stream this show.
Shoving it down my throat. Fucking someone farting in a cave in Afghanistan is faster.
Yeah, you know what, Dave? You should ask if you can get a sponsorship deal and say 3. So much faster than the Wi-Fi and broadband that I'm currently using at home.
Yeah. I mean,
it's amazing. British Telecom, you can suck my dick. But
I mean, when you've got suicide bombers in the Middle East who can send a video from Instagram about where they're at, and then obviously get blown up because of it.
From a bloody cave.
Yeah, and you can't even. I bet you couldn't even send a text to Burhan right now.
Well, like the last Burhan and the boy, I got kicked out halfway through, and I couldn't even fucking send them a message afterwards to say I've been kicked out because it was completely down. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, British Telecom, thank you for taking my £45 a month.
It was one of the most interesting Burhan and the boys because we talked comic books, which I love. So. At the end of the show tonight, I'll actually give a few plugs.
So what you're saying is it was one of the most interesting Burhan and the boys because I wasn't there.
No, because
we don't mean it like
actually,
that.
Dave, because we talked comic books, and you did put your 2 cents in on comics. I'd like to have had you put your 2 cents.
And then I got kicked out.
I was like sitting there going, Dave was awfully quiet for some reason.
He hasn't cut anybody off.
Do you know what? Right, I might ask British Telecom to do me one favour. Since you're so shit. Because I'm in the burbs, so it comes over, I always say this, but it's true, it comes over a couple of hours. British Telecom, can you at least do me one favour? Which is, every time I get kicked out of something or you collapse, can you at least give me like a sound? So, I was thinking that we could have the countdown sound. Every time I get kicked out of a live stream.
I do have to ask, being a Doctor Who fan, how was Matt Smith in the movie? Because I know that was a big deal that he was
he's in it. I forgot about that.
Do you want an honest opinion?
Honestly, yeah, go ahead.
That sounds bad.
His American accent sounds like this.
Oh, he's talking in an American accent? Never mind.
And he also plays one of the lead villains.
Oh, I don't mind that.
Really? I got no problem with that.
I am not going to say who he plays. I enjoyed his role for what it was.
Does he have foppish hair?
He looks like Matt Smith as a doctor.
That works for me. I'm sorry.
With a bow tie and everything.
But it's one of those things where you sit there and go, his character's supposed to be highly intelligent, so you sit there and go, well, you could have played it English. The American accent that he tries, it sounds like the dude who was in...
Hi, I'm Chuck Weaselberger.
What was that Will Smith film where he plays like the superhero?
Hancock.
Hancock. He sounds like the guy in Hancock. You know, the one who's got a terrible American accent and sounds like this.
There aren't
Hello,
many actors that can really pull that
Hancock.
off. The American, the English to American accent. There's not many, and the ones there are very notable. Like I'm a massive Gary Oldman fan, and anytime he pulls off
I
an
was just
American
going to say,
accent,
Gary Oldman, true story. Based on what he said, the interview he said on Graham Norton's show was, because he lives in LA, he's so Americanized now. When he had to go back to a movie and speak in English tongues, he had to actually go to a voice coach to teach him how to speak English again.
It's actually quite funny because you've got the most notable ones who actually can do an American accent. Usually can do it because of the fact that they've been in the States for so long. And I think Oldman is one of those because he's been there for decades.
That's the easiest way to get an accent. I mean, I hardly sound Finnish any longer.
I was blown away when I was gonna say I was blown away when I heard Hugh Laurie speak British. I'm like, wow, I honestly did not know he was British until I saw some old Blackadder episodes.
True story. Oh, Blackadder, I love thee. True story. Do you know after, because obviously House was pretty much the most famous show in the world for a while. True story, had to actually have surgery because walking around with that limp.
It fucked his leg.
He actually, and he actually says in interviews and in his book, ironically, walking around with a limp and faking a limp for that many years actually gave me that problem, and then I had to have it, surgically, fixed.
Ooh.
Based on the fact that I was faking it for a character role.
I have a lot of respect for Hugh Laurie now in that regard. Anybody who suffers like that for their art, big props to them. Although he did bring up one funny thing since we're talking about accents. He said every British actor that he's talked to that's had to do an American accent, they say the one word that's impossible to say if you have a British accent in an American accent is the word New York. They said that's the one word that he has trouble saying in his American accent.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you. There's two words that I love to speak, which I've been doing for the whole entire week for some reason after watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is tonight. You.
I remember that episode.
Well, it's funny. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. There's two words, phrases that you can spot someone, and all right, basically, I'm basing this on trashy TV movies. B movies and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but you can take an American or North American, Canadian, who's got a really, really, really good British accent, but there's two words that no one can say outside of England where you can spot their accent full apart, and one of them is bollocks, because all North Americans say bullocks, and it's like, no, it's not cows in a field. It's bollocks. We're talking about our junk downstairs. It always makes me laugh. And
the
the
best
other one
I've
is,
heard was Barlux. That just kills me.
and the other one, and I'm
I'm
not saying this to be homophobic, but the other one, because obviously it's slang in movies. The other one that they say,
Oh, BT got him.
it's puff. It's not poof.
We freaked out a bit because all of a sudden you stopped halfway through your sentence and we're like, BT got him.
Don't mention the I shouldn't say it. Don't mention the Connery God.
Yeah, we won't do that.
They got me, and I got gameplay last week. The wankers.
Bit of a segue before you go on to the news. I gotta ask, did you see the video I posted up from Friday Night Project on my YouTube? Not YouTube, on my Facebook.
No, I didn't, but I will check it out.
It's they did a parody of Doctor Who, and David Tennant is in drag, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, I have to see that.
Yeah, they land on it's some guy comes out as the Doctor, and he's like, and where's my lovely assistant? And it's David Tennant in full drag, and it was hilarious. They were on something called like the Pink Planet, and there was one scene. There was one scene where he was like, Doctor, what's that? And he's like, it's the worst Time Lord of them all, the Gay Lord. And it was a guy and it was this guy with like he had like this like Nerf gun with like a dildo on the front of it, and then David Tennant in his like very like is he Scottish or Irish?
Scottish.
Him saying the phrase in a Scottish accent, he's gonna give you the sticky end. I laughed so hard. I posted it up on my Facebook. You guys got to check it out.
Do you know what the irony is though when you said on the Pink Planet? Pink Planet is our equivalent of game.
Huh. I think that's why they did it. I mean, when you've got a character called the Gay Lord popping up, I think that it's kind of on the nose at that point.
I love the fact that, you know, North America can make the jokes that we're not allowed to make in the UK anymore because we're so politically correct. It's not fair, damn it. It's not fair.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you could pick apart any civilization and find its pluses and minuses. Don't hold it too much against.
I would like to pick apart, if we're going to do it, I would like to pick apart Rome in the 3rd century.
That'll be a future episode. Mark that down. Mark that on your calendars, people. But before we get on to the main topic, I do have 2 bits of news that I want to talk about. One that I just found and one that I want to get you guys' opinion on. I just read online via Variety, Jurassic World, since we mentioned Jurassic World earlier, has now passed Marvel's The Avengers and become the 3rd highest grossing film of all time, grossing $1.52 billion.
Was that the Avengers, the first movie, or Age of Ultron?
The first one. I think the first one.
I know it had an absolutely insane opening that broke all records.
Yeah, it beat out Marvel's. Yeah, it beat out Marvel's The Avengers, which was tied with actually Furious 7 at 1.51, and then Jurassic World pushed past it. So it is second to the $2.1 billion Titanic and the $2.7 billion Avatar, which, you know, it's funny because it still hasn't opened in Japan. It's still got Japan.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, it opens in Japan August 5th. So it still hasn't even hit Japan yet, and it's already gotten $1.5 billion. So
this is going to be insane.
Good on them. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, and the Nostalgia Critic just reviewed Jurassic World, so I don't know what the movie's about. I refuse to see his review on it.
Yeah, I saw his review. I saw he posted up his review because I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, the reviews have been very positive as well, because it says it pays homage to the last films, but it does its own thing at the same time, which is...
Well, I just like the fact that it's canon. I was really worried before it came out that I thought, please don't make this like a reboot or something. Please make it canon. And they did. So even though I haven't seen it, I am very happy with the fact that it's set in that world.
You know, it's weird that Jurassic World came out and got so much praise, and yet when Genesis came out, people were slagging it. And I'm like, I figured they would go hand in hand. I mean, when you've got 2 big franchises that, let's be honest, hit the skids in their recent last iterations, I figured they would both kind of, you know, be symbiotic of sorts. But for some reason, there's a lot of backlash against Genesis that I almost expected from Jurassic World, and Jurassic World is going to bank, you know.
But I think the problem with Genesis is, even though I haven't seen it, was, you know, any project that has an older Arnie in coming back to go back to a franchise project that he cut his teeth on when he was young, you can have a bunch of wolves sitting in the background just wanting to pick holes in it.
And that's unfair, because I've liked so far some of the work that Arnie's done. I mean, I liked the Last Stand, his first big return film. I've heard a lot of
an awesome movie.
Oh yeah, I went to a midnight screening. It's one of the few midnight screenings I've been to, and I loved the movie.
Maggie is another one. Maggie's a lovely movie. Very well.
I've heard a lot of good things about. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about Sabotage, which is funny considering it's written by the same guy who wrote...
Oh, no one can say Sabotage without me getting the Beastie Boys stuck in my head. Thank you very much.
It's ironic that film is as good as it is, considering it's written by the same guy that did Max Payne and Die Hard 5, which are complete pieces of garbage, but... I mean, it's a lot of people are giving it
Die Hard 5 is all right, as long as you consider it just an action movie and not a Die Hard movie.
That's one of the big things. That's one of the only positives I've heard people say. Otherwise, I've heard nothing good. I actually just watched Film Brain's review of it, and I think he was pretty concise in his reviewers of it. And I think we've name dropped enough of these people to talk about the next big bit of news. What I like to call the Blipageddon, basically.
Yeah.
Via Variety again, Maker Studios announced yesterday in mass emails to their video providers for Blip that Blip.tv will be shutting down as of August 20th. The whole site will be taken down and all of its content wiped.
Wow.
It's been something that's been in the works. I know Burhan mentioned that it's the inevitable.
Yeah, it was the inevitable one. As soon as Disney said they were buying Maker Studios, as soon as they bought out Maker, they are in bed. They are so far in bed with Google that they're not going to be running. They could run Blip, and they could make it as a very extensive competition to YouTube because their rate of pay was a lot better. The way that they managed it via basically views, they kept it on the bog standard old YouTube platform of views, where they got advertisers in on the highest like rated videos on Blip, and they screened anybody that wanted to work with Blip. It was kind of it was like the LinkedIn of YouTube, you know.
Yeah.
And it worked for them. And the reason why guys like the Nostalgia Critic make a lot of money, they're AVGN, Pat the NES Punk, these guys made a lot of money from Blip because Blip was providing them something that YouTube couldn't. Plus, their copyright laws on Blip were very relaxed in comparison to YouTube.
Yeah, they were. I mean, we mentioned Channel Awesome. They're probably the biggest
they've been hit hard from this.
I would say they're the second biggest success story because wasn't Rooster Teeth? Didn't they start on Blip when Blip first started, if I'm not mistaken? And then obviously when Red versus Blue became a big thing, they kind of parlayed that into their own franchise. But they were they were one of the first big stars. And then obviously when that guy really took off and became Channel Awesome, you know, they're the ones that are getting hit with the biggest. Some of them are taking it kind of. I don't want to say they're taking it well, but I think a lot of them knew this day would come. I'm a big fan of Nash Bozard and Radio Dead Air. His tweets about it have kind of signified like, yeah, this was kind of, you know, it was inevitable. It was inevitable because from what he's been saying, Blip has actually been really late as far as paying their providers. It's been really bad, so much so that a lot of the providers have actually started slagging off Blip in their videos, and now their day of reckoning is coming. A lot of them are going to be homeless. A lot of them are going to be moving to YouTube. I know, for instance, Brad Jones said that he was moving all of his content at the moment over to a new YouTube channel. Some famous stars have actually already done that. Lord Cat, Jason Pilara, has been on YouTube for a couple of years now. He was one of the first people to move away from Blip, I think, when the Maker deal hit. Spoony obviously has moved a lot of his content over to...
Spoony's not even making content anymore. He's been very, very late in terms of his content. I was reading his Patreon feed, and people have gotten very angry over the fact he hasn't done anything.
He just posted up a Wrestle reviewing Battleground.
Yeah, they were like, that's the only thing he's been doing, the Wrestle reviews. He hasn't done any Spoony shows and stuff.
He does a lot of Counter Monkey. I think he did a Let's Play video of PT, which,
people were
late
like,
to the party.
Yeah, people were like, okay, this isn't what we've been paying for. But yeah, that digress on that one because that's a whole nother situation. But it's what they're doing now. These guys are all moving on to Patreon, and a Nostalgia Chick's been moving on to Patreon. I've got an issue about people who've been making a heck of a lot of money now moving on to Patreon because to me, I think it's ridiculous. It's like having Donald Trump say that he's broke and homeless and you need to give him money on the street. Do you know what I mean?
Yes and no. I mean, if they can get the money, more power to them.
They can, because they've got an ingrained fan base. They'll be able to get the money like that, you know, like nothing. But I still have an issue with it. And I think in terms of Channel Awesome itself, I think it's dead. You know, I've got a funny feeling that eventually you'll see it phase out to the Nostalgia Critic just doing his own thing on his own YouTube channel. I know
they've been trying to grow that property for a while now. Weren't they trying to sell a TV show at one point, like an internet TV show, that Pop Quiz Hotshot thing that never took off?
Yeah.
Demo reel before that.
Yeah. Well, demo reel was terrible. Demo reel was poorly scripted, poorly acted, and it transitioned. At first, it was supposed to be a mockumentary about someone trying to make something in the film industry. Then it changed into something else entirely, and then they just ended up merging it into the Nostalgia Critic, which actually fared a lot better.
And that makes me upset because I remember the month before he announced he came back, he actually did a hit here for a convention, and he was adamant. He's like, I probably will never be doing the Nostalgia Critic again. I'm not going to do any. You know, I'm working on demo reel. That's my big thing. And then a month later, he brings back the Nostalgia Critic. Because
he was losing money. That was the thing. It's a money move. And I don't like. I'm going to be the first one to say this, that I'm very hit and miss when it comes to Nostalgia Critic in its current form. I think he does. It's like watching one of those anime episodes, those anime filler episodes, where they fill it in with nothing that is relevant to the actual story. I think the way it used to be very sharp. It used to be very consistent, and the puns worked really well around the reviews that he was doing. The whole problem now is he's still going to get copyright strikes for any review that he does on YouTube.
Oh, definitely, yeah. A lot of those reviewers are gonna have a hard time. If you're a music reviewer, you're gonna be fucked. Like, I think Todd in the Shadows is pretty much dead at this point. There's no way he's gonna be able to keep his show going.
He was doing some, I think, on the YouTube ones that because I've seen some ones he posted on YouTube, and what he's been doing is been cutting them to the point where there's no remnants of the actual song. You would have a little bit of it, but it's a shame. I think there was no... The problem was Blip was because they were on something before Blip, weren't they? Before they moved to Blip, and Blip was the only big alternative to YouTube that was actually making money. And then Maker bought them out for, I think it was something like 500 mil that they bought it out for, and then they got bought out by Disney for something about, I think it was like 1.5 billion.
Yeah. And
that's it, you know. Maker basically have Polaris. They have loads of other little studios underneath them. And it's basically now everybody's fighting, and the problem with YouTube currently, and I've kind of addressed this in some previous videos, everyone's trying to make money using a media that's so oversaturated now that there is no way that you can kind of get yourself out there.
And here's the thing: Blip could have been that. Blip could have really been useful to that thing, because, you know, YouTube, there's kind of that top layer of just stupid cat videos and stuff like that, and then there's Vines. And then there's that second layer where it's, you know, company owned stuff, like, you know, clips from shows that are put up by Hulu or NBC or anything like that. Yeah. And then under that, obviously, you have the Let's Players and you know, the reviewers and whatnot. Well, the Let's Players have gone over to Twitch now. That's kind of their thing. But
not for really. You've got Markiplier and PewDiePie, who's still the most successful Let's Players out there, because they've got like over 1 million subs apiece.
Yeah. But for the reviewer base, Blip really could have been a big media aggregate. They could have really been their own brand. Yeah. And God, Disney. This is when people shit on Disney. This is what they talk about. You know, they take something that didn't need them and decided to just throw it away for no reason, and it's unfortunate.
It's a smart move though, because what they were doing is they're using Maker Studios as a way to promote their brands and products. So every time Disney has, because they see how powerful the internet is, so what they'll do is, oh, we need to promote a new game that Disney is making. We'll get the Game Grumps to do it, you know, or we've got a new TV show that we need to do. Let's get one of the TV reviewers to do it. And it's a way for them to make tons of money, because I'm a part of Maker. My channel is a part of not my YouTube channel, my Daily Motion channel, youtube.com, dailymotion.com/nerdgenius is part of Maker. I don't really use it as much, but I've seen the amount of money that they'll throw at you if there's something that they need to promote and it needs to be promoted heavy. The problem is it's causing guys that we used to sit there and look at and say, like Angry Joe, who are now trying to do it under cloak and dagger. Oh, you know, I officially endorsed this game, and then the game turns out to be shit. And he's like, oh, well, I liked it, when he didn't really even play the game in the first place. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah.
And I know there's a little thing at the bottom there saying that you're endorsing it, and that's an advertisement piece. But these guys don't say it. I've seen these guys promote these games. None of them say it. And that's where the thing is. And some of these come up to like $20 per person that signs up from your referral. Do you know what I mean? You just add the link in the comments section, and if they click on that link, you get $20 to your Maker account, and then another 20 gets added on, and then another 20. You can make thousands just by being a shill and promoting all this shit. And that's where the problem is. And I've said about the internet medium in general has become something where they're trying to make it like TV, but it's a bastardized version of it. Because you've got people who have no idea what they're doing, have no idea how to market this stuff, trying to do it to the point where it's kind of killing their channels in retrospect. People can see, and this is the thing, your fans aren't stupid. People can see that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. And that effectively is going to kill the channel. Angry Joe is now kind of effectively moving himself over to Twitch because his channel's become very much like that. You know, people have kind of distancing themselves from him because of the content he's making, kind of half-arsing it. And he's doing more Twitch Let's Plays. You've got a lot of guys who are moving over. You've got guys who are part of that guy with the glasses, who are part of their little shell companies as well. And because they didn't plan for this, and they're losing a ton of money as we speak, it's destroyed their entire kind of platform. You've got guys like Cinemassacre who they never do big like copyrighted stuff. They'll always do free license stuff. They'll always do storytelling, and now that's kind of gone to James and Mike plays. They do the James and Mike play Mondays and stuff, and they try and do as much other stuff and then pad it out by giving people what they want with the Angry Video Game Nerd. But even then, it's kind of they're treading on water, and this is the thing, and this is what people need to look about when it comes to YouTube. All it takes is one person to is the YouTube economy to kind of go, and that platform's going to die, and then they'll move over to the next thing. The thing
let me ask you a quick question, real quick.
Yeah.
You mentioned Dailymotion before. Do you think a lot of these people that are getting thrown out from Blip, do you think they may move over to Dailymotion since Dailymotion's standards are a lot more lenient and they're not as copyright?
I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not sitting there bashing Dailymotion, but their server is terrible. To do a game Let's Play on there, you have to do a hell of a lot to kind of get yourself working. You have to have inside knowledge of Dailymotion to get streaming working. Then you've got the other issues where you're uploading videos and it's not reaching the amount of views. Like, for instance, I'm currently on a channel called The Comic Historian, watching his complete breakdown of the Brightest Day storyline. 455,689 views, over 10,000 likes, 111 dislikes. Dailymotion doesn't have anything like that. You rarely get a video that breaks over 1,000 views.
Well, maybe could this be this? Let's say Channel Awesome decides all of them to move over to Dailymotion. Could that be the big lure that really starts to get people noticing Dailymotion?
They don't pay that well in comparison either. So that's the problem. Remember, these guys will still be owned by the studios, and they don't pay as well as YouTube pays. The thing about it is the only way that Channel Awesome are going to work is, one, if they sell out and decide to open up their own site and get advertisers to kind of go to them. So they work as everything, but they're going to need a team, which means they've got to spend a lot more money before they actually make any money, which I don't think they're prepared to do. Two, find somewhere else. I know JonTron's trying to find a way to gap it by using Normal Boot's site and partnering up with, I believe there's a Streamplay that they use, and they have some ingrained advertisers there that they can get paid per clicks on. That way to kind of make a bit of money on the side and then direct it over to YouTube so the individual contributors get what their money on that. But there's no clear-cut way at the moment, and it's because we're in a transition phase, and the transition phase is that they're now trying to make the internet, as I said, a lot more like television. Netflix is becoming the dominating thing. In my opinion, if I was the nostalgia critic, or if I was like one of one of the reviewers, I would look at opening my own site, because
that's what most of them have. I know Lupa and Phaelus have their own website.
But they would have to have their own ingrained player in, and they would have to have their own advertising and monetization. As long as they've got Google AdSense, they'll be fine. But on the same level, they've got to do a lot more legwork than they used to do. It's not like what they did with Blip before, where they could just upload a video and then Blip pays them. That's not the way it works. But they're going to make it a lot more harder. I think in terms of Nostalgia Critic and the more popular ones, they'll probably do a lot more conventions to kind of offload the rest of the money, if that makes sense.
Do you think that this is going to cause do you think this is going to oversaturate YouTube, having this mass exodus of Blip people all of a sudden moving their stuff over to YouTube, and you think it's going to cause an issue? Like, it's going to drop, it's going to make it harder for people to stand out?
Oversaturized.
Yeah.
So
Anything
in the entertainment business is oversaturized.
It's harder now to make a name for yourself on YouTube. I think someone said it before, where you need 10 grand to actually make a respectable channel that people are going to migrate to. So you need to put money into the channel before the channel actually becomes profitable for you. There is rarely anyone who can come in there with a video cam, with a small cam, and do a YouTube channel to make money. You either got to do it because you love it, because it's your passion, or don't do it at all. And I think you're going to see a lot more people like Jess Otoku who just say, you know what, fuck it, I can probably make money doing something else.
Well, no, she retired. I don't think Yasu Otaku hasn't done any videos. She
Yeah,
stopped
no,
doing
but
them.
she saw this coming. That's why, because she wasn't earning as much as she used to on Blip, and the problem was she got a job with working for an anime site, becoming an anime reviewer on the site, and she's happy doing that. It pays her rent. She didn't want to open up a Patreon because she didn't feel that she deserved a Patreon, and I'm more power to her. I agree. I loved her content, but I agree with everything that she says
I
because
always liked her. She was cute.
she was. Don't get me wrong. I thought she was adorable. The problem is though as well, and I'm gonna sound like a fucking asshole for saying this. But you know I'm wearing my asshole pants because people think I'm an asshole at the moment anyway.
Are they brown?
They are brown. The majority of guys went to the Nostalgia Critics school of reviewing. So it's like, if I found when I was watching a lot of the other reviewers, it was pretty much like watching the Nostalgia Critic.
The newer people, yeah. That's why I don't watch many of the newer reviewers, because they are kind of from that school of the Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah, it's like review, jump cut, review, jump cut, review, jump cut.
Yeah, I mean, the older guys, like, I still love a lot of the reviews Brad Jones does. And
Brad Jones has his own thing. I think that works.
Well, Brad Jones is a trained director. He's actually gone to school for it.
Yeah. Linkara, I've actually moved away from his channel now because there's actually a lot more channels even on YouTube, like the Comic Storian, Comic Island, that do what he does but do it a lot better.
Well, he got swept into the whole, you know, miniseries storyline kind of thing.
But again, he was kind of the same as they had that thing with. At one point, the Nostalgia Critic did it, Juwario did it, Linkara did it. Brad Jones was doing it and then decided to stop and just do his reviews normally. And it kind of killed what they had. And it's, as I said, it's, for me, I think you've got to look at it from a perspective of, will any of these guys stand out once they move over to YouTube? The answer for the newer ones, no. I think eventually we're going to see all these guys die out, and there's only going to be the main three, who are the League of Super Critics, the Nostalgia Critic, Nostalgia Chick, and Brad Jones. Because these three were the ones that have their own unique identities. The Nostalgia Chick is very, for everything people say that she is, I think she's only like the Nostalgia Critic by name. In terms of her identity, she's really changed. She's very intelligent. She has her own way of doing things. And now she's also backed on Patreon, so she ain't going anywhere. She'll bow out when she wants to bow out, when she finds it's no longer fun.
I'm not a big fan of her politics and at all. Yeah. But yeah, she has kind of become a figurehead of her own little network, because it's her and guys like, you know, Todd in the Shadows, obviously, and a few other reviewers who have kind of, even if you go on the Channel Awesome website, if you look under Nostalgia Chick, there's a handful of reviewers that are just associated with her. So I think she has her own little subset that she's going to probably parlay into her own little thing. Obviously, Brad Jones
looks like
has
someone who probably saves money, you know, because she's been living in the same apartment for years. So I've got a funny feeling she saved her money. She's put her money aside, and she knew that this was coming, so she's probably invested in something to kind of, you know, help and assist her in any way. But I
think the first generation of reviewers from Channel Awesome are fine. I don't have really any.
I disagree on that one.
No, I mean your obviously your Nostalgia Chicks, your Brad Joneses, your Spoonies, your Linkaras. I think for the most part, a lot of those are going to be fine because they've been doing it for so long. I think a lot of them are kind of short-sighted in the fact that most of them probably didn't back up their stuff onto YouTube.
Yeah,
and you're starting to see that a lot. I know if you look at the Twitters for like Diamanda Hagen, for instance, flipped out because of the fact that now her stuff has to be migrated over to YouTube. Owen Citizen, I think, mentioned something about it. Leon Thomas mentioned something, who's another reviewer on there, more the newer type. But I think the OG reviewers of that guy with the glasses, I think a lot of them are going to be savvy enough to kind of work through this. And I think they have enough of a namesake to where they're going to work. But a lot of those newer guys are going to have a rough time on YouTube. I mean, we have a rough enough time. And we're kind of doing, you know, we're associated with Retro Unlim for the most part, you know, and we have a hard time kind of cracking through YouTube of sorts. I mean, these guys, even with the Channel Awesome name, I don't think they're going to last too long.
The problem is they're part of an old genre of like videographers and YouTubers who found a way out of the YouTube system. And because they now have to go back into that system because there's no other alternative without investment, they are going to struggle, and they're going to struggle hard, and we're going to see these guys drop as like flies. Eventually, I think the Channel Awesome website is going to be down to the final three, and eventually I'd see the Nostalgia Critic just parting ways with his other guys altogether and just doing things on his own. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is just because, as I pointed out, they've, single-handedly, Disney have done the dirty to these guys, and I think for them, they probably saw it as a logical step of, we have to invest money in this thing, we don't want to do that. So, our maker team are YouTubers who work for us, not the other way around. Then that's all it is. They want promotion for their shit, they'll just hand it over and do like a Maker Studios event, which costs little to no money for Disney. Get these bunch of YouTubers who want to be famous on there, make the money.
Well, for the most part, Maker has mostly just been working with either the Game Grumps or Markiplier. I know Markiplier did a bunch of work for them. Obviously, Ego Raptor and Mortimer, and I don't know if Danny Sexbang had worked with them, but I know that Ego Raptor and Mortimer were working with them. Same thing with Markiplier. Pewds, has he done anything with Maker?
No, Pewds is, I believe he's on his own. He doesn't actually... He's not with any sort of studio. He's looking at getting a studio, making his own studio, apparently, because he's been so successful. But I think he recently did a video talking about the fact that he made... Someone basically pointed out that he made 700 grand last year. Or was it 7 million or something like that? I think it was 7 million for his channel alone. And he was just like, I'm well off. Life sucks.
I said it before. PewDiePie is basically the Let's Play equivalent to Fred.
Yeah. He doesn't care. He's like, I just do what I do. If I get views, I get views. If I don't, I don't. And in the end, he knows it's going to end eventually, but he's enjoying it. He's enjoying the ride. So, more power to him. The same goes for Markiplier. The same goes for everybody who's making it a success and who's managed to make something from YouTube. But I will point out, it's an unstable economy. If you think you can make a career of YouTube, you're slightly mistaken. It requires a lot of passion, it requires a lot of time, and if you don't have that passion, your channel ain't going to be anything.
So basically what we're trying to say, folks, to kind of tie this all together and give us I'm going to throw a wrestling analogy out there that you and Dave will probably understand. Blip closing down is the equivalent of TNA closing down. You can shit on them all you want for their business practices, but the fact that they're going away really does hurt the overall business overall. And you're going to see that now with YouTube, with that, because YouTube is going to be the only place to go, and it's going to be rough days for a lot of these reviewers. So
and that's the thing. And and for those who can probably make the change if they wanted to, they won't do it, and that's the guys who have got the big money and who probably could put the time and investment into making something which be an alternative, and just won't do it. There's no investment in it anymore. It's the medium is dying, and with Blip dying, there's only one route to go, and if you do it, you've got to really conform to a lot of standards.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, especially like I said when you talk about copyright. I think a lot of these newer guys are going to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so enough about that. RIP, August 20th, Blip.tv. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. Yes, this is the third and final chapter of our epic long series of defending bad films. First chapter was My Films. We talked about that about a month ago. And last week, we devoted a whole episode to the films of Michael Burhan. And this week, we're going to be ending our series with the 5 films, 5 or however many Dave has chosen, of Mr. Dave Wade. So, Dave, you get the intro. Start off with the first one.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God damn it. Really? Was that why we haven't heard him this entire time we were playing?
Yeah, I was sitting there going, "Oh, Dave's been really quiet."
It was odd, right? Nobody cut you off when you were doing it. All right, hold on,
That's what I was
folks.
thinking as well.
Let me see if I can find this guy. God damn you, Dave. Let me see if I can find him on. I don't even see him on Facebook. Did he get thrown off? Dave, is that you? I see you lighting up. What happened? You still there, buddy?
Dave.
All right, hold on, folks. We'll try to get Mr. Dave Wade back because he's the star of tonight's episode. Okay, let's see. Hold
Eventually,
on. Yeah.
at some point.
Live, everybody. You may have to edit out all this noise out. I know we don't do editing, but if it gets too bad, we may have to cut out
Yeah, I think
some
it's
dead
too
air.
long. Just
Let's see.
got it.
Let's see, Dave. I just messaged Dave to come back.
Come back, Dave.
Let me.
How about now?
All right,
Funk soul brother.
Thank God. I was sweating here. I was like, God damn it. We can't do it. Not now. Dave, you there, buddy?
Hang on. You can't hear me. Why am I saying hang on?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
I have no fucking Scooby whatsoever what happened then. But it does kind of answer my question, which is I tried to interject in the previous conversation, and I just thought, why are you fucking ignoring me? I'm not the elephant in the room. That's my shit computer.
All right, so we did the whole big introduction for you. We were wondering actually why you weren't, chiming in when we were talking about.
I have no idea. Right, no one say his name, but the gods whose name we shall not mention are clearly not favorable to me.
Well, hopefully they hold on for another hour or so, or however long this takes, because we're throwing it over to you, man. You get the introduction. Your 5 films, go.
Right, first of all, Blind Fury, Rutger Hauer. Oh,
Let me look
I
that film up.
don't understand
I
why
love
that
that
movie
movie.
gets so much heat. I
don't know that
fucking
film. I'll
adore
have
that movie.
to step aside.
Just a bit. It's also when he's the blind swordsman, but he goes, "I also do." When he slams his sword back into its sheath and just goes, "I also do circumcisions."
Let's see. I'm trying to see what the director has done.
It's actually technically an A-list movie back in the day when B movies actually got released in the theaters.
Yeah,
That
it was
makes
more
sense.
like it was in the day where kung fu movies were all the rage.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite lines in the movie ever. When this bloke, blind Rutger Hauer. You know what? I'm not even going to say spoilers because if you haven't seen this movie, well, you're blind. See what I did there? It's got one of my favorite lines in the movie ever, which is, "This guy's killing all our blokes." He doesn't say blokes, he says men, because obviously he's American. He goes, "Get me Bruce Lee." "Bruce Lee's dead, sir." "Well, then get me his brother." Genius. It's Shokasugi as well, isn't it, Burhan?
Yes,
The
it
bad
is.
guy in this.
I love Shokashugi. Shokashugi.
Want to try that again?
Shokasugi.
It's like that episode of Family Guy where it's like Dan the guy played Jesus.
How many Shokasugis could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck cut Shokasugis?
Shokashugi.
See. I'm looking at
it's-
the trailer right now for
It's
it.
a really
I'm
interesting movie.
very interested about how much the budget was on this actually. Cause I haven't.
Wasn't the last movie that Rutger Hauer did was Hobo with a Shotgun?
It wouldn't shock me. Let me actually pull that up because I've got.
Hey, Burhan, do you remember his Annina's Raw? Do you remember his Guinness commercials from the 80s?
Oh yeah, that guy was one of those actors that for some reason he was everywhere.
And
But
then
he
he
would-
disappeared.
Yeah, he would always play the same character, but he was everywhere.
I only know him from Blade Runner. That's it.
He was in everything. He was in Batman Returns. He was in the reboot of Batman
Yeah,
as
but
well.
Batman Returns. Come on.
I love that movie.
Wait,
How
was he
dare
in
you,
Batman
Nina.
Returns?
No, sorry, he was in Batman Begins.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Batman Begins. Yeah. Batman Returns is bloody awful.
He had right. I love this movie, and you could technically argue this is an A-list movie in the sense that he got released in theaters, but he's got so many B-movie gems up his ass.
He does.
Like,
He's one of those guys that he would do anything, literally anything and everything.
Oh no, we're forgetting the elephant in the room right now, which is his most famous movie, is The Hitcher.
Yes, he played the villain in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the original. Yeah, I believe.
And
I'm
then
sorry.
they
How is
rebooted it
his most famous film not Blade Runner?
because that's
Come on.
No, but it is. But it wasn't him being main, like the main actor. So we're talking
Yeah,
about.
but it was he was the villain.
Oh, Roy Batty, you look so good in plastic pants.
The fact that there was a guy called Roy Batty.
Well, that was Howard's character, right?
No,
I'm not...
he was but we forget it, but he was a big staple of 80s cinema.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. I'm looking at his filmography. He's done a lot of films, but there's very few that have like actual reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm assuming that's probably because they were more minor hits. I mean, he's had stuff like he was in Batman Begins, obviously. He was in Sin City before that. Let's see, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
What's the movie he made in the early 90s where he fights aliens with the best minigun I've ever seen in my life? I forget the name of it.
I bet you he's probably sitting somewhere in a corner, really wishing someone will give him some Shakespeare. That's the image in my head. He's like, but why? Why am I a villain?
Yeah, he was one of those that you probably sit there and every time he would do a movie and he's like, thank you, Bruce. And then next minute he'll be sitting there going, why is it that nobody would give me a Shakespearean role? I don't understand it.
Or like,
the thing is, though, he's a solid actor. He is a really good, solid actor.
He is. He's one of those guys that really... You would see him in everything, but you wouldn't even know he was there. He kind of molded into the background. Every time
his presence and his skill is so good that it just goes underneath you.
Yeah,
he's basically the Jimmy Spitz of
he's the guy
the early 80s.
Well, he's more the guy that would blend into characters rather well.
Guy that would blend into the background.
Yeah, he wasn't the guy who would... You would look at him as a lead and think, oh my god, he's a lead. But he was one of those guys that if you had a B movie and you needed a recognizable...
hair in the 80s, though. I will say this, he had fucking awesome hair in the 80s.
If you needed a recognizable star, 9 times out of 10 you would have Rutger Hauer. For no reason, it's just for the fact you would have Rutger Hauer.
It was basically the go-to like villainy look.
Yeah, but he also would be the badass as well. At one point, he was known as a badass.
He's got a great face for villains.
He's got Christopher Walken eyes.
Yes,
he does. Yes, he does.
But he would always have that gruff voice as well. He has that gruff voice. He was like
That's why I love him.
There was him, and there was also the guy from, what was it called? The Eddie Murphy movie.
Way to pin it down there, Burhan. The Eddie Murphy movie.
Well, you know where he turns up the cop and Eddie Murphy's like the crook.
Beverly Hills Cop?
No, 40 Hours.
That's the other way around.
40 Hours and another 40 Hours.
What's his name? Nick Nolte.
Yes, they kind of went hand in hand because you didn't know if one was the other.
In fact, oh my god! In fact, they have the exact same haircut.
Oh my god!
Rutger Hauer and Nick Nolte were kind of...
I worry about them being in the same room at the same time.
When I was a kid, I used to sit there and think they were the same guy. So I was thinking, okay, maybe he had 2 stage names. just of the fact he could play more characters.
Can I say a little bit about why I love Blind Fury?
Go ahead.
It's weird. When we first got satellite TV in my parents' house as a kid, in 1989, we won it out of a competition in the Daily Star, which means nothing to you, Miguel, but you know the Daily Star, Annina, and
I've heard of it website-wise.
And,
no.
we got a really shit Alba satellite dish, and one thing I do always remember being next to my dad when he installed it on the house, and the neighbor came over who bought satellite television because it was really rare back in the day, like in 1989, that you would have it. He just went, keeping up with the Joneses. And my dad just turned around and just went, we got this for free. We won it in a newspaper article. What'd you pay for yours? And then he left with his tail between his legs. And I think that was the first time I fist bumped my dad. Just went,
yeah, my dad got his for free as well. And I think the first thing I ever watched on it was Porky's.
No, that's the first thing everyone watched on Sky Movies.
They had it in their bedroom. It was hilarious.
It was weird because they did this thing every Friday night on Sky Movies before it became a convoluted pay-as-you-go fucking service.
Yeah, now you have to pay a lot for Sky Movies.
But they would do, the UK and the British top 10, the UK and the American top 10 every Friday night. And
oh yeah, I used to stop and watch that.
Yeah, me and my brothers would all stay up and watch that. And so you see the UK top 10, then you see the American top 10, and in the UK top 10, because Blind Fury was released in theaters. I don't know how many theaters it got to. I'm guessing
No,
not a lot.
it had a huge release. Yeah.
Domestically, it made it made $2 million.
How much did it cost?
Wikipedia does not say.
I just remember watching the trailer for this movie and thinking it's very, very intriguing.
Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up according to the Wikipedia.
It was the days. It was the days of oversaturation of the kung fu thing, and it basically did.
Yeah, but it did it in a different route.
Yeah, it did something.
Yeah.
You had an actor who didn't know martial arts doing martial arts, so most of the films probably had his stunt double in there, but it was fun. Yeah. It was fun. The thing about
but
it was fun.
Also, the fact that it took something and it separated itself from all the. Oh, sorry, going back to the movie list. I remember watching this in the top 10 and thinking this movie looks intriguing, and then I thought nothing about it. Then it popped up a year later on Sky Movies, and I watched it. And I fell in love with it because it did something different, as you say, Burns, to separate it from everything else, which is he doesn't do kung fu in it. But the simple fact of making him blind just separated it from everything else. And obviously Rutger Hauer played the humor brilliantly. Like when he gets, sorry people, spoilers, when he gets his sword taken from him and they're driving in a car and they chuck it out the window, he says to the kid, count down backwards. And he's like, why? And then when they get rid of the bad guys, they reverse the van and they count down forwards, because he knew that would be the area his sword was chucked out in.
And this is the days where Steven Seagal was becoming popular. Miguel, the hard to kill type movies, and it was basically ninjas and sex. That's what these movies were about, ninjas and sex.
Seriously, Miguel, you need to watch this movie. It's brilliant.
But
it has one of my favourite scenes, which is because even though he's an absolute badass, they also play on the fact that, which is kind of contradictive to his character, that he may be stupid because he's blind, but they play it for the cinematic effect, which is he's walking along and his samurai, because basically when he was in Vietnam he got blinded by like a flash bomb or something, and then he was taken in and they trained him in swordsmanship in stuff like
basically
that.
This is Daredevil.
Yeah.
Well, from what I'm reading, it's basically a modernized version of the Zatoichi Japanese mythology.
But it's got this amazing bit where he walks along the highway, and obviously he's in Florida and there's alligators and shit. And he obviously is a blind man. He uses his sword in its cane because it looks like a cane until he pulls it out, because that's the shtick of the movie. But he's tapping it and he walks along and he taps an alligator in the face and just goes, "Oh, nice doggy." It was brilliant. I love this movie.
It basically plays on a couple of different ideals on it, and it's a very,
and he's badass, even though he's not, he doesn't do martial arts in this movie, Burhan, but you can agree with me, he's absolutely badass in this movie.
Yeah, it's basically Kung Fury before Kung Fury came out. It's silly, the story's kind of nonsensical. It's about a badass character who you don't know it's badass until they do a bit of exposition for him.
In defense of his character, he doesn't want to be badass.
He just wants to be left alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's the kind of the loner, the guy who travels from town to town.
And the fights, and we say, and he did it himself. Sorry, Winnie Pops. The fight at the end with Sho Kosugi. There's only a stunt double for one sequence in that fight. The rest of it is Rutger Hauer having learned to use a sword. So that's quite impressive.
It's kind of like Highlander of sorts, because if I'm not mistaken, Lambert didn't know how to use a sword when he did Highlander.
Yeah, that's why he got his finger cut to the bone and had to go to emergency surgery.
But
by the way, I know this has nothing to do. I should have put Highlander 2 in this list.
But again, Dave, I enjoyed that movie as well. I see nothing wrong with that movie.
Annina, you've been quiet. Have you seen the movie Blind Fury?
No, I haven't seen it.
Seriously, people.
Give me back your actor's card. Give me your equity card right now, Annina. Just put it on the table.
Oh, come on.
I'm joking.
Who's the one who always has obscure art films? See? See? Who's the one who always gives obscure art film references?
Hello?
Okay.
Can everybody hear me?
You're welcome back, Annina.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
I will honestly say this, by the way.
You keep your equity card for one more day.
Well, you say you're a Bill Murray Bill Murray fan and you haven't seen Coffee and Cigarettes. That's all I'm saying.
Shame on you, Burhan.
I haven't.
Oh my
Exactly.
God, a little part of my soul died just then. No,
By the way, I just want to point something out. When you mentioned Rutger Hauer, I said, "Oh my God," before when we were while you were talking. There's a reason behind it because you mentioned there was like, what's that movie that Rutger Hauer was in that had the alien creature, and I was like, let me look that up. For years, I had yes.
Split Second.
Yeah, and for years I had remember seeing this movie and I didn't know what the name of the movie was, and I was like, "What the fuck is that movie that I saw?" I remember the cover with Rutger Hauer holding the shotgun, and I couldn't remember who the actor was, so I was like, "Was that like Nolte? Was that Gary Busey? Like, was it Lambert?" I couldn't remember who it was, so for years I'd been looking for
Thank
this
you,
movie.
By the way, Miguel, thank you for saying Christophe Lambert's second name correctly.
Wait, is Split Second? Is that the one where he comes in and goes, "I come in peace"?
No, that's the Dolph Lundgren movie.
Oh, that's the Lundgren one, isn't it?
Dark Angel.
That's it. Apparently
which in the
over
US
in
was called I Come in Peace.
Yeah, in the US it's called Come in Peace. In the UK, I kept because someone just went, "I come in peace," and I think there was being some like they had some alien things saying, "I come in peace," and I just used
That's a great movie. Oh fuck! I should have put that movie.
I used the quote from Dark Angel and just went, "You leave in pieces," and people were just like, "Oh, that's so original." I was like, I just ripped that off from a movie.
Yeah.
Can I just and we won't talk about the movie, but can I just add an honourable addition to my list of movies, which is in North America, I Come in Peace, and the UK, Dark Angel with Dolph Lundgren. That's a fucking amazing movie. I should have put that in this bloody list.
Dude,
I'm really upset.
Dave, as a child of the 80s and 90s, I thought you would have had that movie in the list.
I've got to watch Split. Yeah, I've got to watch Split Second after the show because I have to actually because for years I remember watching this, but I didn't remember what the name was. Now that I've got a name,
I'm not gonna lie. I like it, but from the third final act of that movie is really underwhelming.
I'll have to take a look.
But they got great guns. They got amazing guns in that.
Yeah, I was watching the trailer while you were talking, and the movie looks fun. Like for an early '90s release.
Straight to VHS movie, by the way.
That's fine. That's that was of the thing back then. There were some pretty good straight to video movies back then.
Well, can I just round up on Blind Fury and then go on to the next one? I just want to say, people, seriously, Blind Fury is so much fun. It's such a great, too many people stick their head up their ass and take cinematic movies so seriously. Blind Fury is just nothing but a bucket full of fun biscuits.
It's so enjoyable. I have no idea why people have had an issue with it.
Yeah, and Rutger Hauer is absolutely, even though he learned swordsmanship, he didn't learn kung fu. He didn't need to because it was about him being a samurai. He's absolutely badass in this movie. Do you remember the bit by her when he cuts the bloke's hand off? Sorry, people, spoilers.
I remember that.
When it just goes, and then you just see this hand fall down with the gun in it. Oh, genius. And he plays and there's a brilliant blend of, action, but comedy. And who would have thought that Rutger Hauer could, play the straight man at the same time as delivering, deliberately, puns intended based upon him being a straight man, but delivers some absolutely fantastic one-liners and stuff. It's just an absolutely great movie.
That's the key to one-liners is you have to sell it. If you say one-liners and you know what you're saying is silly, it comes off as flat. You can't be self-aware of it. That's kind of how Seagal was, You got to say it and mean it.
Yeah, the inflection has to be serious.
I got crap hair. Who wants to fight me?
Yeah, I could see Seagal saying that.
I want to have sex with your face. And drink wine.
I'm pretty sure 2/3 of my hair is from a spray can.
Lots of wine. Because wine's nice.
Give him some time.
Only you could say those, Burhan. I can't imagine Seagal saying that.
Give Seagal some time. As fat as he is, he might be doing those same wine commercials that what's his name did before he died. Wells.
Yes. It will happen.
I'm Steven Seagal, and this is God. What was the name of the wine company that he used to do?
I'm an Henrietta cup.
All 300 pounds of him.
Still better than Wayne Rooney doing those bloody beer commercials. Have you seen those, Burhan?
Yes.
They're the worst acting on the planet.
Who's been doing beer commercials?
Wayne Rooney, footballer.
English.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the worst
I thought you
acting.
said Wayne Brady. I'm
Ju-
like, Wayne Brady doing beer
just
commercials?
just for you, Miguel. English. I hate myself for saying this. English soccer player.
No, I got football player because I don't think you guys have American football over there. Do you?
Oh, we do. No,
Oh.
you the slight tangent. It's really popular over here.
We have
and
the
you
LA
have-
Knights, don't we? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, there are 3 games a year, and all the American teams fucking crawl for it because the money they get for it is ridiculous. That we have 3 games a year when you play, and they're not like the Super Bowl or anything like that. They're not even important games. Well, they are. Everything's important in sports, but there's 3 games a year that are hosted at Wembley Stadium, which hosts 80,000 people, and it always sells out.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have rugby, which is like football on steroids. I mean, that scares me. That sport.
That's when we tried
Thank
to.
you,
That's
Miguel.
why we tried to
Thank
kill each
you.
other, basically.
Yeah,
'cause,
I
rugby
tried to
is
explain
giants
to-
having,
I-
it's football for giants.
Yeah.
I tried to explain to one of my American friends, which is like, you guys play pussy sports.
Mhm.
Well, we play rugby. What's that? Well, think about American football without armor.
Yeah, without the pads or rules. Well, there are
Yeah.
rules,
Fact.
but
Yeah. In fact, there was a thing in the newspaper today I read, which is
Rules. Where we're
most
going,
of-
there are no rules.
most people now they before you join a rugby team have to be advised by their chief surgeon, which is you do understand that this sport will cause massive amount of impact on your head and you may lose a lot of brain cells. No shit, Sherlock.
I've always heard a story about rugby. I don't know if it was an urban legend or what, of a guy who dislocated his leg during a rugby game, and they had to pop it back into place. And what happened was he got hit so hard, one of his balls dislodged and went
Oh,
into the
it's an urban
socket.
legend. Yeah, they rammed the leg back in and his knacker got stuck in it. I heard that at high school and I'm old. Yeah, that's an urban legend.
I had a friend
Yeah,
of mine who had a cricket ball like whacked into his nuts and then threw up everywhere.
Yeah, let's not get.
All I know when I play cricket at school, because we were
It gives
forced
a whole
to.
new meaning to the word in blackest day and brightest night. Same.
And we had the box that you had to wear, and everyone feared this box because it was never washed out. So, and we needed it because we didn't want to get hit in the balls. So me and all my mates came up with this amazing contingency plan, which is I'm gonna wear 2 pairs of underwear, and that way the box will never infect my groin.
And that's how Dave Wade cured bollock cancer.
Sorry, Wendy Pops.
Yeah,
Anyway, drifting off from Blind Fury. By the way, people, seriously, Blind Fury, fucking gem. Is it on Blu-ray? Hey, Miguel,
It's
look that
not
up.
on Blu-ray. It never got the transition to Blu-ray like all the cinematic classics, Dave.
Oh, I would love it on Blu-ray.
let me take a look real quick. Let's see. Blind Fury. No, it hasn't gotten a Blu-ray release.
Oh, to quote our last conversation, bollocks.
That's not everything can make the transition. I mean, there are still some VHS movies that have not made the transition to DVD, let alone DVD to Blu-ray. I mean, it happens as one generation moves on to another.
Well, I'm going to do my this is unrelated. I'm going to do my list of favorite movies of all time because people have asked me on Blu-ray, and the one that really upsets me is my spoilers. My second favorite movie of all time is Highlander, and the Blu-ray cut. What a fucking pile of shit! Every time it's on the Scottish moors, it looks absolutely wonderful when you see it full 1080p and it looks fantastic.
Now,
And then it goes,
is this the Immortal Edition? Because I'm looking at UK releases, and the
Yeah,
only one that it
it's the
lists
Immortal
is
Edition.
the Immortal Edition.
yeah. And then the minute it goes to downtown New York, and this is a fault of a lot of poorly remastered Blu-rays, well, unremastered Blu-rays, I should say. The minute it goes to New York, it's so grainy, it looks like you're watching it on a VHS.
I've got to
Yeah.
rewatch my copy because I've got an American release, and I don't remember it looking that bad. I'm gonna have to go back and see
Wait. Just the first scene. If you go back now, the first scene where Connor McLeod's driving around the car park in this little mini Porsche. If you watch it on Blu-ray, it goes from, the epic fight scene, then it goes to that, and you're just like, wow, my picture quality just, rebutted 13 times. It's...
Well, I know for a fact that for the Blu-ray release, they had some of the scenes. They were able to find some of the deleted scenes, but they weren't able to remaster them.
The deleted scenes were never deleted in the UK. Do you know that?
Oh, okay. So you guys got the full-length version, and obviously we got the cut-down version.
When I was on holiday in Toronto in like 1998 or something, I came across in a Blockbuster Highlander, the director's cut, and I bought it, and I was really psyched. And then I went back with my mate Jeff, who was an English bloke who emigrated, and we watched it, and we both just came to the same conclusion. That's exactly the same as the UK version. And then we found out that the European versions were basically the real version, and the North American versions were cut out because of the Catholic Church.
Well, for our end, we got a lot of the backstory cut out. Stuff like the scene with the Black Immortal was taken out of the original release for Highlander.
Oh, Fazir.
Yeah, the scene where they go in depth more on the what's her name? It's been a while since I've watched it.
Rachel.
Her companion. That the scene from World War II that was cut out.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't believe, because that's an amazing scene.
Who wants to live forever?
When he pulls up the gun, and he just goes, ha 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 ha, because when he was young, Christophe Lambert had an amazing laugh. He just went, ha ha ha. What do you say, Jack? You're the master race. And then blows his face off with a Tommy gun. All that shit was in the UK version from day one. And
and there's the scene, and there's a line, it's a kind of magic, which was one of the titles for Queen's album, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a kind of magic.
Yeah.
A kind of magic.
We gotta do a Highlander episode at some point. I do want to do a retrospective. But I will say one thing about we'll save it for the retrospective. But is there anything else you want to say about Blind?
Please, Miguel. We have to do. Even though after this movie everyone else is shit, we really just to appease me. Can we please do a retrospective on Highlander?
Yeah. At some point we'll do a Highlander retrospective. I just got to go back and watch the third one, because that's the only one I haven't seen is Highlander 3.
Oh, here we are.
We're the princes of the
universe.
Can I just say my favorite Sean Connery line, which is anyway.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to upset the gods.
Oh yeah, sorry. Shit.
Well, by the way, for those who want like Sean Connery, check out Pixie's video.
Man, you said his name out loud.
She does a reading of one of her favorite comic books in a Sean Connery voice. Well, tries to. Bless. But she's
people,
hilarious.
please, Connery gods, don't fuck me over for this, please.
Calm your herbs, Dave.
Burhan.
Calm your herbs.
You mentioned his name. Oh shit, I mentioned his name.
Yeah, let's burn through your list.
Anyway,
so that
really quickly, just to round up Blind Fury, people, if you want just a great cheesy, like 2 hours of your life that you'll fucking love and enjoy, Blind Fury is a fucking great movie,
and it's
I
got a rather credible actor in it as well, which is very rare for like kung fu movies.
I don't understand. I mean, I know this is why we're talking about, bad movies we're defending, but I don't understand why it gets the hate it does.
I think it's because it was from a different time and people don't understand it. That's my opinion.
Who knows, McLeod? Sorry.
Check your shelf before you wreck your shelf.
No one's going to know my second movie. Miguel, get ready on your keyboard.
All right, let me pull up Wikipedia.
I adore this movie, and I own it, and it's so it's. In fact, what was it Annina said earlier on? I would say it's technically a Z-class movie.
Okay, so what is it?
Class of 1999.
Dude, I know that movie.
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Teacher, leave those kids alone.
Basically, in the future, like schools are full of fucking wankers.
And this is
oh my god,
This is
They
another
predicted
actor.
the future.
This is another
And,
actor who basically was one of those guys where he was in boo movies that ended up in
Boo
cinema.
movies.
Boo
Boop
movies.
movies.
Boo
With
movies.
ghosts.
I want to be in a boop movie. That's not fair.
B movies that ended up in
Alright.
cinemas. Go on, Dave.
Yeah, Class of 1999 is it's about a dystopian future. Well, we're not talking Blade Runner, you know. Like think about now in kids running riot in schools.
Basically,
So-
it predicted in 1999 that we would have robotic teachers.
Yeah. So they basically ask a military company to make teachers for them.
Oh,
It sounds
there's-
really stupid on paper, but it's really good.
But it's
And so-
hilarious. That what about the bit with the female teachers like about to get raped and she just like destroys the fucking kids?
Yeah. But the thing is that I like about this movie, which is the kids, and I'm not saying you should be like, you know, punished and shit like that, but the kids who don't misbehave don't get killed by the Terminators. But the
Because
kids
that's
who,
what
like
basically
you
these
said,
teachers are.
yeah, they're fucking, they're cyborgs. But the kids who misbehave, and like you said, when they try and rape the teacher and she destroys them, get destroyed. So the balance in this movie I like, which is it comes down to if you've done nothing wrong, you've got nothing to be fearful of. But
Yeah.
if you're going to be a dick, we're going to fuck you up.
It's basically like
And-
in the same reminiscence of Battle Royale High before Battle Royale High was a thing.
And even though the special effects are shit, it has one of my favorite scenes ever in a movie. You can find it on YouTube. At the end, when the teacher goes batshit crazy, and he just goes click, and his arm expands and breaks, and it's actually really good, you know, practical effects. And then he rips the skin off it, and he's got a fucking cannon, and it's just like, oh, it's brilliant.
Well,
It's a shit movie. It's a cheap movie. Well, that's what we're talking about. And the acting is terrible. And the
Yeah, they
special
start
effects
rebelling against the teachers as well because they go nuts. They start going
but
after
it's
everyone.
just so much fun. It's
Yeah.
a cheese fest.
It's for
so
me
enjoyable.
when I first watched this movie, I was scared shitless. Then watching it like a couple of years back, I watched it and just laughed. It's one of those things where it's cheesy, it's cheeky, it's the same kind of. You're going to see, I think, a pattern in some of these movies
But
that Dave
there
defends
are
here.
moments in it that do kind of, you know, and I don't think for a second they try to predict this, but there are moments in it that kind of predict modern society.
Yeah, it's
Is
and
it
it's
done
also
seriously or tongue in cheek?
yeah, it's
which-
kind of
It was done. No, it's not tongue in cheek. It was done seriously
yeah, it's
But
kind
because
of
it was the 80s.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of in the same vein as RoboCop
Or
in a sense.
It's a
Is
great
it
movie.
Lawnmower
though,
Manny?
seriously.
which I do like. Because now
I adore that movie. I adore it so much. I remember one of my
Yeah,
fondest
yeah.
memories was I talked about it to a bloke at work 2 years ago, and I just went, "Oh, do you remember Class of 1999?" And then a couple of weeks later, he came up to me and just went, "Dave, I'm going to make you shit your pants." I'm like, What do you mean?" He goes, "You know that movie you speak so highly of? I found it in FOP, is a record store that sells DVDs. I found it in FOP for £2." And he pulled it out and said, "Here you go." And I was just like, it was like the light from God was shining down, and it just went, oh, it just went, oh my God. And that's the copy I have.
bless.
It may not have any special feature. Actually, it has one special feature, the trailer, but I don't consider that
That doesn't
special.
count.
Yeah. But it's cheesy. It's crash. It was made on. Hey, can you find it on Wikipedia, Miguel? I'm just curious.
I
about
found it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I've got it on Wikipedia. Class of 1999. It's got a pretty solid cast. It's got Malcolm McDowell, Stacy Keach, Pam Grier. As a B movie goes, you can't go wrong with a cast like that. You've already got me. At that
Oh,
point.
she was the one when they It's prosthetics, but there's a bit, isn't there, Burhan, where they rip over when the person tries to rape Pam Grier, and they rip over the shirt and it's prosthetic tits, and
Oh,
then
that's so unfortunate.
and
Damn.
then her chest gets cut down. and
Miguel
then
was
she
like,
breaks-
tonight,
Yeah.
I'm going to be
He's-
watching this.
Damn
and then
right,
she
I would have.
breaks out. Yeah, then she breaks out. Is it a flamethrower from her hand?
She does, yeah. Pam Grier is She's one of those women who can be sexy yet intimidating at the same time.
Do you know what? Right, the
There's
great
a lot of
points about
women who
this-
can be sexy and intimidating.
Yeah, but she was the first.
Yeah,
she was the
around
first.
around that genre, around
Glenn
that time.
Close. I mean, I'm sorry, Glenn Close is really hot but terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, but as far as an ass
We're
kicking
not allowed
woman,
to like
like
Glenn Close because she boils bunnies.
yeah, and as far as like ass kicking women like that, I mean, Pam Grier in the '70s with the blaxploitation movies.
Yes.
I mean, you can't
True,
deny.
yeah. No, she is
her
sexy.
work.
I'm not.
Motherfucker, you looking at my tits? Sorry.
Damn right. I'm just saying.
You wouldn't say that to her because
it's
Yeah,
just
you wouldn't survive 5 seconds.
No, but it'll be totally worth it. But yeah, as far as this one, I mean, I saw the trailer. I just finished watching it. It looks every bit as cheesy as you make it sound, but it looks fun. It really does.
is. I really, really do recommend. I know that's what this streams about, but I really do recommend this movie to everyone. It's so much fun. In fact, the bit that's annoying is with their limited special effects and their budget, the special effects are really good, and then you get crap, really 80 scenes in between them of a bunch of kids running around and just going, girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, I was watching some of those scenes. I had it muted, but it looked very 80s with a lot of the faux apocalyptic look. I always love watching movies from that era and their attempts at trying to be like Mad Max, but
let's just put a couple of cars in the background that are burnt out. That's the future.
Yeah, just random leather bits all over and like bad haircuts. Maybe some eyeliner or something. We got it.
Oh, they're in that. But seriously, people, as much as we're taking the piss out of this movie, this is... I think sometimes people have a bug up their ass or their head up their ass and don't understand that cinema is not necessarily to be everything based upon Oscar-winning performances. Class of 1999 is just... It's a ride. I don't care how cheap and nasty and dodgy it is. I guarantee anyone who watches this movie will walk away with a fucking smile on their face.
Well, I'll say this: there isn't a Blu-ray release yet for Class of 1999, but I think
I really don't want to see it polished up to 1080 though.
Well, for those who are interested, because we always like to bring it up, Shout Factory just got the rights to Class of 1984, and I think they said that if the release of that Blu-ray edition does well, they'll try to see if they can get the rights for Class of 1999.
Oh, it's not going to do well. The thing is, it's the movie is cheese. It's one of those things where it's good for what it is, but it's not one of those movies that you're going to seek out and try and find.
I think it's penned down, Burhan, isn't it, to the specific generation who grew up and watched it.
Correct.
I don't think it outreaches outside of that generation.
I was scared shitless when I was going to school. Just saying.
Fair enough. So we got a lot of 80s cheese on this list.
It's gonna get worse, mate. Trust me.
Well, hopefully we can keep up, because I hate to sit here and keep going. I've never seen that. I mean, I appreciate it because you're giving me more movies that I got to look up after the show. But...
Do you know what this is? This whole retrospective is gonna be me and Dave telling people that we're old.
You're not fucking old. I'm old. Piss off, you fucking junior.
I know every single movie you're going on about.
Yeah, but you're just doing that for hipster points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but no, seriously,
Dave told me this
people.
beforehand, and I researched everything.
I do mean this, people. All these movies I'm mentioning, go out and watch them. Take your fucking Oscar-winning bug out your ass, and just give them a try, because it's fun sometimes to sit down and watch a cheap, crass movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some bad
It's really gonna get cheap and crass for my next one.
All right, let's go ahead. Don't keep us in suspense.
Critters.
Ooh, I've heard of that one. Let me pull that up if that's a movie that I
think I've seen that.
It kind of, even though they're venomous and they're technically more evil, than it was kind of, encompassing on that whole Gremlins sort of popularity phase.
Okay, I think I have heard of this. This is a Gremlins ripoff. Let's see.
But done well, may I add.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say more about this. I've heard of the movie, but I've never seen it before.
Ignore all the sequels, even though I'm talking about B-movie. So, obviously, you want to ignore all the sequels to a B-movie sequels. It's
I mean, if
basically
you're gonna choose something like Gremlins, why not just choose Gremlins and not this one?
because
Well, because
I
people
don't.
like Gremlins. Everybody
Yeah,
Yeah,
likes Gremlins.
Gremlins is really good.
I don't consider that a bad movie.
Yeah.
I think that's a fucking amazing movie. Very
Yeah,
dark.
it
There's a
is.
video on my channel about how I talk about how dark Gremlins is, considering it's a 12A rating.
No, yeah,
No,
that is that that
the scene
spider
when they
thing
talk about
gave me
when
nightmares.
Phoebe
That spider
Cates
thing,
Phoebe
spider gremlin
Cates
thing.
talks about why she hates Christmas and it's because her dad went down the chimney dressed as Santa Claus and got stuck there.
A scene
And
which has comes right the fuck out of nowhere. Like I've always hated that scene because it's like they've got this really they've got some horror, but it's been like almost late '80s, early '90s kind of fun horror, and then that scene pops up, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
exactly.
Did the writer air his grievance and forget to take that out? Was this one of those
We
Bushmill
didn't
soaked
know he
nights?
was there until we smelt the smell.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god.
oh god, it's so dark.
I mean, I like the movie. By the way, you mentioned Annina, how I think either it was Annina or Dave, how that movie was a 12 rating. In the States, that movie was the reason that the MPAA instituted the PG-13 rating because of that movie. It was between that and Temple of Doom that the MPAA
Oh
decided.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Temple of Doom. I forgot about that. The,
Yeah.
the fact that they when this is too dark for children.
It was too dark for a PG, but not dark enough to be qualified as an R rating. Both Spielberg films, by the way.
Do you,
Spielberg produced.
well, do you know what the movie was in this country? They introduced the what we like to call
The 15.
no, the 15. Oh, trust me, mate. 15 rated movies these days can actually be really violent. The one that introduced and there's no 12A, just called a 12 in this country was ironically Batman, Tim Burton's Batman.
I could see that. I mean, I could see how some elements of that film might be considered.
I never got it. I
dark.
never got it. I'm like, there's no real sort of disgusting gut turning shit.
It's because it was dark. You had a lot of.
Wasn't that the
action
biggest
sequences.
set outside of Cleopatra?
Do you remember though? We're in terms of that, right? And the time we're living in at the moment, people
Yeah.
are more susceptible to violence in that era and making it kind of a PG-esque thing,
Well, to quote
Yeah,
Flanders'
back in
wife,
the day, I
"Won't
mean,
someone
just
please think
having a
of the
hint
children?"
of something was enough to make it,
Yeah.
rating wise.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think The Dark Knight should be an 18, and it's what, 15?
Yeah, the
That
fact
is-
when
It's
that
a
came
12.
out,
The Dark Knight is
No, it's
12.
a 12. Yeah, that should be an 18. I'm sorry.
that took a
Well, see,
lot
I-
of bullying. Apparently,
see,
the
I'm
studio
sorry, Annina.
bullied the NPAA in regards
I
to that
really
rating.
think it should be a
I
higher
disagree
rating.
with
Come
you,
on,
Annina,
the
on that
Joker
one. I think-
himself is so fucked up.
I think
The one that I've always had a big problem with was Saving Private Ryan. How that film didn't get an
Oh,
NC-17 or an X rating. That was clearly Spielberg pushing his weight around to get that out
Yeah.
as an
But
R.
you
There's
know why,
no way
don't
that should
you?
have been.
Because he went to the boards. And
He's
just
on the
went,
board. He's on the
Yeah.
MPAA board. That's how he was able
Oh,
to do
there
it.
we go. Now we know how it is. But if he wasn't, he just went. This is history. Kids need to see this shit.
That's how ABC got away with showing it unedited on Veterans Day a couple years back. They actually showed the movie in its entirety on Veterans Day.
It's funny you say that because my girlfriend at the time was Canadian, and we were watching it on TV and we were just flicking through with like pizza and shit to find stuff, and I just went, "Oh, Saving Private Ryan," and then I looked at my wristwatch and just went, "Oh, it's going to be crap and pussified," because it was like 12:30 in the afternoon, and then, all right, it had the commercials that drove me up the wall, but we both watched the movie and then looked at each other and just went, "How the fuck did they get away with that?"
Yeah, that's a movie that I'm shocked. But we mentioned Spielberg. I mean, he was the reason why the PG-13 was made. I mean, if Spielberg wants to get a fucking movie out, he's gonna figure out a way to do so. And
Well, I heard, I know we talked about it and you mentioned it and we tied it between two movies, but I heard that the real reason that it was introduced was primarily on Temple of Doom.
Yeah, Temple of Doom was the big one, but a lot of people also quote Gremlins as being one of the other reasons, which I could kind of see. I mean, back then, I mean, I don't know if I would consider Gremlins a PG, especially that
It's not
last.
a PG.
It's
It's
not
not.
PG,
It's
it's
not
dark.
15 though.
It's a dark comedy.
It's comedy, and they're cute, but then they're not cute. Like I said, that spider thing.
It's
gave me
scary,
nightmares.
it's
Well,
like
the spider
Leprechaun.
was in two. Two
Yeah.
was had the spider. I'm talking more about when
Yeah, but
Stripe dies.
two
he's
went more
melting.
left field.
True,
'cause
yeah.
The original one was supposed to be a comedy horror, whereas the second movie was just a straight up comedy.
I love the second one.
I love the second
I
movie.
love them both.
There's
I
two
love them
cuts
both.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, one with John
cut-
Wayne and one with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen the Hulk Hogan one. I've never seen the John Wayne
The
cut.
John
actually.
Wayne one for here went straight to video, so we got it on VHS copies. The Hulk Hogan cut was only in cinema, and it's been
I think
on TV
that's
though.
yeah, the TV cut is the one that has Hulk Hogan. That's the only one I've seen. I didn't see it in theaters, and I didn't have the VHS, so
The VHS
I never
cut
saw.
had John Wayne. But the thing about my dad is my dad used to rent everything before we even saw it on television. So if we would never go to the cinema. I went to the cinema as a kid to see 3 different movies: Transformers, the movie.
The
Which
85
You got the touch.
Boom,
You got
boom.
the power.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because there was a girl I like and she wanted to go and watch it.
I'm so sorry for you. God damn it, that movie.
I don't
That-
hate that movie. Though.
I liked the Bryan Adams soundtrack. Let's just keep it at that.
The
I
only
like
thing
the
that,
fact that-
imagine that. Hold on. You say it's bad, but imagine that film without Alan Rickman, and tell me if that film still holds up. 'Cause
Okay. One thing I
Very
will say,
true, very
I'm
true.
gonna get hated for this. So much better than the Russell Crowe version.
Oh no,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Russell
Haven't
Crowe
seen
versions
Russell Crowe.
I've heard is terrible, but
Garbage.
I mean Rickman pretty much saves Prince of
I
Thieves.
own the
The
director's
best
cut of
Robin
Prince
Hood
of Thieves.
film is Men in Tights.
And just
That's-
yes, we're men,
Damn
we're
straight.
men in tights. Yes. But for that, and what was the third one I went to see? I went and saw a third movie as a kid. Oh, Suburban Commando. So those are the 3 movies I went as a kid to go to cinema to watch, and that was also because 1, I liked the girl. 2, tickets back then, because over here we used to have Catford Cinema, which was a big thing. So I could literally just walk down the road to a cinema and watch a movie. And I used to pay something like £3 a ticket. Imagine
Yeah,
today's
back in the
standards.
day.
Back in the day.
We had a day in Bristol at least for the
A day?
Canna, before Cannon went bankrupt. Their cinema would do Quid Thursday,
Yeah, we had that in Peckham.
and you could actually go to the cinema and watch a movie for £1. And so all the money you saved on your ticket, we just went to the bar and got loaded.
Oh, we went and got like popcorn and bits of. I was a fat kid, and part of the reason I was a fat kid because of cinema, and also we used to have McDonald's Thursdays in my house, so that's why.
By the way,
food
Burhan,
toys.
my Szechuan chicken noodles.
Mhm.
I'm not a fat kid.
Dude, did you notice I had the wink?
Yeah.
It was a joke, Dave.
I always used to. My mum would always put microwave popcorn in like a bag for me that I'd smuggle into the cinema.
I smuggled a
cinema
Subway
popcorn
into the
one.
cinema once.
Isn't it the law though that you don't like the prices you have to pay in the cinema? So isn't it the law that you load your fucking coat inside pockets with shit you want to eat and drink because you don't want to be paying like fucking £200,000 for a bucket of popcorn and a fucking bottle of Pepsi?
Well, me and
Well, these days I would. These days you really would hide it, but as a kid, I'd practically walk in holding it.
Yeah.
Going, la 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 la.
they wouldn't care.
They were-
Nowadays,
Okay.
though, they'll freaking check you.
Nowadays,
out,
they're
security.
Nazis,
They'll pat
yeah.
you down.
You have to. In fact, the last time I went to Showcase, they have one of those scanners you get at an airport that you have to walk through, and it goes, he's got beverages he's not bought here.
Wow, you guys. There's really not much I could say about that, or Critters for that
people.
matter. I just realized we went on like a 15-minute
Oh,
diatribe talking
sorry.
about the
Can
cinemas.
I jump back to Critters?
But
Yeah,
again,
right.
they
So
had this was
basically-
at the time you had the Ghoulies as well. So you had the Critters, you had the
Ghoulies.
Ghoulies.
Hobgoblins.
You
The
had-
Ghoulies were horrible people that came up through the toilets.
Yeah,
That
I
scared the
was
shit out
I watched that movie and I would not go to the toilet for about like freaking I had to have a parent with me to go to the toilet because I was scared that one of them was going to jump out and bite my anus.
Yeah. You were scared because there was a bomb in the toilet. You didn't want to blow up like in Lethal Weapon.
I'm
I
getting too
thought
old
you
for this
had
shit,
to have,
Miguel. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Literally.
Burhan, I thought you had to have people, go to the toilet for you to make sure that you didn't miss the ring.
But I'm cha.
Anyway, sorry, back to critters. Right, so this alien capsule with these weird little furry creatures in that are venomous and horrible, and they can shoot spines out their back. Break out for like an intergalactic prison.
They were turned to balls as well, weren't they, Dave?
Yeah, and so two bounty hunters track them to Earth, and one of them dies, and the other one absorbs the persona of, the thick person on the farm. Sorry, America, and it's true, it's the movie. He absorbs the thick persona of the redneck American and, morphs himself into him. And then they hunt them down. And all I remember about this movie that I really, really, really love... Well, no, I remember all this movie, but my greatest thing is they have the best guns in movies ever. Because when they face people down and they look them up, they just go, book! And their gun barrel, and the size of, like, fucking pint cans, just goes... and goes up further. And then you get the whole playoff between the fact that there's this bloke who looks like a guy on Earth, even though the guy on Earth, who's a thick bastard, is still there. Then his little friend doesn't understand that there's a bloke running around dressed in leather with a gun that looks just like you.
Now it would be like Taboo Saturdays, Guy in leather with a gun.
It's a great
going
movie.
To clubs.
It's an absolutely great movie. It's just, and there's some genuine horror in this movie.
I'm watching the trailer right now. It looks a little bit more heady than your average, rip-off film.
It's basically, you would not think it would be safe to go to the toilet. And the trend kind of continued from this film to films like Jack Frost.
I'm talking about Critters, by the way, not Ghoulies. I'm watching the trailer for Critters right now.
Miguel, can I ask you a personal favor?
Sure.
Promise me, of all the movies I'm going to talk about, possibly the next one, but more so this, please watch this movie.
It's horrific. Get it? No.
It's bad. It's bad, but in a good way.
Yeah. It's punalicious.
It's weird because some of the special effects, as you would expect from a movie that was filmed on, like, I don't know, 25 pence, are terrible. But some of them are really good. Like I said, the guns in this movie are amazing.
Well, it's a $2 million budget in 1986, so that's not too bad of a budget. I mean, it's on par with the budget that
for a B movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's on par with the same budget that Sharknado had, so it's not too bad.
Oh, you brought that up again.
You want something else to really hurt your feelings? Do you know what the director of Critters went on to direct?
It's gonna kill me, isn't it?
The Chaperone, the Triple H WWE film.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah. To be fair, he also directed The Three Musketeers, the Disney one, which I've heard has its moments.
Is that the one with
Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went on to direct that, 101 Dalmatians, the live action one. Holy Man.
I liked that one as a kid.
Oh yeah, it's one of the better live action films, the later era ones. He also directed Holy Man, the Eddie Murphy film, which I've heard is it's an Eddie Murphy film.
I've seen it, by the way.
What? Holy Man?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And all I can say to you people out there in internet land, don't watch that movie. It's shite.
It's an Eddie Murphy film from the late 90s. I wouldn't have expected much.
But it's not Eddie Murphy in it, though.
Yeah, it is. Holy Man is Eddie Murphy.
No, but what I'm saying is, when you watch it, it's not Eddie Murphy. It's like... I can't explain it. You watch it, you'll agree with me, which is, you look like Eddie Murphy, but you're not Eddie Murphy.
Well, Eddie Murphy hasn't been Eddie Murphy since, Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yeah, well, since he became Disney's whore.
Oh no. I'm talking. That wasn't until early 2000s. I'm talking early 90s. You know, when you talk.
Holy Man is a pile of wank biscuits.
I liked Holy Man.
That's because you're gay.
I hear crickets so far when as soon as
Now
I said
that's
that.
offensive to gay people.
Yeah,
Settle up
sorry.
there.
I'm using gay in the sense that I'm a 12-year-old.
How
Yeah,
dare you,
I
Dave? How
mean,
dare you?
all fairness, Holy Man is sitting at a 12 on Rotten Tomatoes. I know we're
Ha!
I know we're talking about a lot of movies and giving them a
Do you know
chance,
what?
but come
That's
on,
quite good, actually.
it's 12 more than it deserves, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, you know, maybe
He's
for
in there. See, the problem. I mean, we're talking about my movies, but the problem with Holy Man is Eddie Murphy is in there, but at any moment you want to tap him on the head with a spoon and just say, break out, be yourself, go crazy." It's like it's a very subdued Eddie Murphy movie, if that makes sense.
I have no issue. Eddie Murphy was basically Eddie Murphy in all his other movies. People just got tired of watching Eddie Murphy be Eddie Murphy.
he let his ego get a hold of him in the late 80s, you know, when he started writing and getting more involved with his films. I mean,
Do you know? Do you know he has an album uh,
he
that
had a #1 hit over here.
yeah, with like John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Elton John was on his album.
I think this was late 80s. Was it the same one that had Party All the Time on?
Yeah. My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
You could have put anybody in that singing that song and it would have been just as good. I never felt
Dave
Eddie
Wade,
Murphy.
my girl wants to party all the time. Slag.
What do you mean, Dave Wade? My God wants to party all the time. Are you pimping out Maggie?
No, I'm saying basically
you're
sung.
a bad man.
I was saying as sung by Dave Wade.
Yeah, like you could have put anybody in that era to sing that song and it would have worked just as fine. Like I said though, I can't trust an Eddie Murphy movie anymore. He's hurt me way too many times. I mean, if we're talking Meet Dave, Norbit, A Thousand Words, Pluto Nash. I'm sorry, for every good movie like Dreamgirls, he's got 5 others in the back end.
Miguel, if I give you a plush doll, can you show me where he touched you?
I would love to, but I don't think that's legal.
Did he say that his girl likes to party all the time while he was doing it?
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Probably. He was doing a donkey impersonation. I remember that. Oh, the only other fucking good film of his that's worth mentioning.
Shrek.
Yeah.
Oh man, you fat! I can taste that shit.
Donkey.
So yeah, anybody else have anything they want to say about Critters before we move on to the 4th film?
No. I'm sorry, Dave. I got to disagree with you. I didn't like Critters. But
Oh yeah, that's because you're a puff.
Ghoulies is a much better movie.
Oh fuck off, you knob jockey.
It is.
No, it's not. Critters, it's got guns that go.
Ghoulies has monsters popping out the toilet biting people.
Critters has. All right, fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bargain basement Pokemon. That's all I'm saying.
Let me guess.
Credit-
The next film is also from the 80s.
Yes, but it's one of my favorite movies, and I own this on DVD, and I watch it many times a week.
All right, let's
A
go.
week.
A week.
Mm.
And what is it, Dave?
Best of the best.
Yes! I love this movie.
I think I've seen parts of that movie. I'm familiar with it. I'm gonna have to let me look that up real quick.
USA.
Basically,
USA.
before movies like Never Back Down, before you had those kind of movies like Kickboxer, I think it was around about the same time as Kickboxer.
No,
wasn't
it was same year.
Yeah, same year. You had movies.
1989.
Again, they transitioned from just kung fu movies to tournament style kung fu movies.
Yeah.
So
I think
every
they were writing on the successes of like the Karate Kid and whatnot, you know,
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
Bloodsport.
But this one,
But
you
I
had two
will-
friends, right? Both of them going on this journey. One fights with the other, and they end up at this pinnacle.
Tommy
tournament.
Lee and the bloke who became the master in the Doctor Who American movie.
Yeah. Raoul Roberts. Eric Roberts.
Sorry, did you say Raoul Roberts? I didn't realize
I
he
always
was
call him
Indian.
Raoul Roberts for some reason.
Eric Roberts, a criminally
Roberts.
underrated actor. I mean, he pops up.
Exactly.
It's kind of like what we mentioned about Rutger Hauer. I feel the same way about Eric Roberts.
He chooses some really shitty roles, though.
He chooses fun roles. Like, everybody shits on him for being in Dead or Alive. I'm like, you know what? He chose that because he wanted to have some fun.
He wanted to see young girl boobies.
Yeah, I mean,
shut up, Burhan. You get sued.
Hey, if I would have done the same thing. Holly Valance. You had the girl from My Name Is Earl.
Good call.
Jamie Presley.
Yeah, she.
Always been a fan of hers. Yeah.
Yeah, I know why. Damn.
She's so hot. She make my winky feel funny.
Yes, exactly.
She's hot, but she also has kind of.
She has some good acting chops to her as well, though.
Yeah.
She plays some really
No,
good
she
characters.
doesn't. We just look at her and just go.
No. I'll say this: she's funny hot. Like she's in that same boat. She's in that same boat as like Jenny McCarthy, but not insane.
Yeah. Jenny McCarthy's kind of don't vaccinate your children, people, because Jenny McCarthy told you to. Yeah. But she's one of those I think is. She's rather intriguing in terms of the characters that she plays. She's also extremely hot.
You sound like a criminal mastermind.
No,
She's
I
rather
think
intriguing.
Here, I think what it is she seems like she doesn't seem hung up. Like she seems like if you met her on the set of a film, she'd be really cool.
Oh, like the actress who plays the agent. Is it Agent? What's her name?
Agent Carter?
No, in Agents of Shield, the Asian woman. What's her name? Agent. Is it Lee or Ming? Something like that.
I have not caught up on Agents of Shield.
Well, apparently on set, because I was talking to a couple of the actors who worked on set with her, and
I remember.
They said that she's got a dirty, dirty mouth. And she goes around. She actually posted a picture recently. It said Asians of Shield, and it's got her and the other girls around her. I was cracking up with laughter. Apparently, no one can keep a straight face when she's on set. That's what I would actually say for her too. She seems like one of those who would just, you would basically, your sides wouldn't stop splitting, and you would have to try and maintain composure around her.
I like women like that. I love them that don't take themselves so seriously. Like, I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. I think for Eric Roberts, what he does, I like some of the stuff that he does, but there are other roles I look at him like The Master. I just looked at it, it was like, why did anyone choose you for this?
You know, he doesn't seem as hung up as his. Like I said, he doesn't seem nearly as hung up as his sister. I think I think she kind of takes the limelight from him, which is unfortunate. Because, like I said, he can do movies that are, he can do lower level.
When he's actually in a movie that does involve, like, fighting and shit, and he has to actually act, he's a pretty solid actor.
Yeah, I mean, he can bounce from doing, like, The Expendables and God, what was another big movie? He was in The Dark Knight as well. He can do stuff like The Dark Knight and The Expendables and bounce back to doing stuff like Dead or Alive. Or even lesser-known films like Lovelace, which I heard is a really good film for a direct-to-video movie.
It's based on Linda Lovelace, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I think Brad Jones put it as like his #1 film of that year.
I think we're all missing, mainly because I'm old, the great thing about Eric Roberts, which is he doesn't dye his hair. As an old person who's going rapidly grey, kudos, Eric Roberts. Well done.
Yeah, but you wear it well because you also have that gruff look to your face. Like it looks fine when you have gray because you kind of have that look like you've been through shit. So you kind of have that.
Well, according to my last troll that I blocked, but I did make a point of chewing them out before I blocked him. You are the true story. You are the dirtiest, scruffiest, smelliest vlogger I've ever seen in my life.
Like you,
Right.
and don't take this as an insult, but you look like you would be in an early Guy Ritchie film. Like you would be a
That
character
works.
in one of his films.
I agree actually. And there's nothing wrong with going grey.
As I said to
Go
the
grey
person,
gracefully. Just
as I said to
own
the
it.
person before I chewed them out, which is, I'm not scruffy. It's called eczema, so I trim my stubble.
I call it seriously sexy.
I like my face. Sorry, I know this podcast.
Some
is
people
not
like
about-
your face as well, Dave. People like to do
I like
stuff
my
to your
face.
face.
And also, and can I be an arrogant cunt right now? Oh, I said the C-bomb. I do apologize. Oh, you can't see this. I'm holding my hand up in front of my face. Can I say this right now?
Good.
I have great hair.
You do. I'm trying to get that look, that kind of like 90s like curtains look that you have. I'm trying to get that look myself, but my hair's too thick.
Now you've just cheapened my hair. 90s curtains look.
No, you know that split curtains look that they used to do in the 90s? You kind of
Yeah.
have that thing going on. I mean, not as blatant
The
as
Leonardo DiCaprio look from Titanic.
No, cough, 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 people. Let's
Instead of
get
his
this
heart
straight.
will go on, his boner will go on.
Shut up, Burhan. This is important. I think you'll find that my look, and it's not, but I just like the comparisons. I think you'll find that my haircuts are purely based on the many movies of Keanu Reeves.
It is based on Keanu Reeves, definitely.
There's
I
a price. by
enjoy the
way,
little comparison pictures you post.
Yeah,
very-
the best one is still me comparing Burhan to Zod.
Well, my beard's gotten really bigger now, so it's like really thick and bushy. I'm like a lumberjack.
I want someone to post comparison pictures of me and a celebrity. Because no one's...
No one's
Ever-
seen
I
you
will.
in-
Someone
Do you know
said-
what? Do you know what, Annina?
Uh,
Send me a picture of you right now, and because it's a gift. I don't know. The Lord blessed me with shit.
Don't send him. Don't send him
Don't
the
send
one
him
where
any
you have
picture. After saying that just sounds really creepy.
No. I was
it
gonna say.
doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I
No,
was gonna-
Burhan, that's you being creepy because you're a pornaholic.
Don't send him the one where you have the crazy eyes, though, because that scared me.
No,
Wait,
because
which
then I
one?
can put it up to the hills have eyes. Ooh.
It was, and I don't mean to disrespect you, Annina, with what I'm about to say, but I got
Go for it.
that crazy eyes picture that you posted on Facebook. It had a very Willem Dafoe feel to it. I'm sorry.
I do have creepy eyes. I can look very creepy very easily.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that about my eyes. Like, if I start staring at my boyfriend, eventually he's like, "Stop it! It's really creepy. It's fun. Fun all night if you're bored. Stare at someone."
Annina,
I do that. I
seriously,
do
send
creepy
me a-
voices.
Send,
I sit
send
there
me
and just go.
send me a picture so I can do a separated birth.
Send him
Separated
picture.
first.
He wants you to come into his van. Do you want to come in
Well,
my van?
You've got me on Facebook. Pick one.
Do you want to send me a
I'm
picture?
lazy.
I'm lazy.
I like
Oh,
pictures.
okay.
Pictures are nice.
You sound like fucking the bloke from. Oh, you are.
Dave, do you want to
Oh my-
send me a picture? Do you want to come into my van, Dave?
I saw you come in.
I
I
saw
saw your soda
I
under
saw-
your chair. That's all right.
That's all right.
All right.
Let's get it, chair. I'll munch you. I'll munch you nice.
let's- Stop it. Stop it.
Oh my
Miguel,
god.
Stop it.
Did
Let's
you mean the crazy eyes picture? Did you mean the one where I'm holding the stuffed goat animal?
I
Because
think
that,
so. Yeah.
yeah, that is definitely probably the best insane picture I've ever taken of myself.
Yeah. I gotta. I'm gonna let me see if I can find it.
Oh my god, Ellie's dog's dead. Oh no. Sorry.
Oh no!
It's not the one where you're holding the dinosaur. There's one in particular.
No, there's one where I'm holding a goat.
No, don't say that. She was never holding my penis. Sorry.
Oh,
And things just got
yeah,
weird.
that's not fair. You could say that about other people, but don't say that about Annina.
She's a classy
oh,
broad.
thank you.
She's a
Thank
classy broad, Dave.
I am. Under
Dave-
my gruff exterior.
Dave's
I'm a
not a
lady,
classy broad.
honest.
Especially sometimes.
Dave,
Dave hangs around the circles. Every
Alright,
time
let's-
comes in my
let-
van.
Let's,
Right. Shut up, people. This is getting weird.
yeah. Best
Um,
of the
can I-
best.
Can I
No,
carry
the
on about best
dinosaur
of
is
best?
an actual puppet because I do dinosaur puppeteering, like I said in a previous podcast.
No. Dinosaur puppets.
It's very cool.
So-
Dave
you
likes
can do
himself
that.
some dinosaur puppets, don't you, Dave?
Yeah.
Like your
Oh,
dinosaur
this
puppets.
has just got creepy.
All right, let's no more
Can
no
I-
more
can I-
funny voices. Let's go back to best of the best. Go ahead, Dave.
I absolutely adore this movie. The first time I watched it, and it was actually released in theaters. I don't know how well it did. I'm assuming not very well. Because basically the only member of the cast who could do martial arts was Philip Ree. But I adore this movie.
But it also went against
absolutely love it.
Bloodsport, though, as well, though. So think about it. Like, with the whole kumite, Kumite.
I prefer the Bloodsport.
You're
be
born
honest.
to survive.
Bunch of people who loathe each other.
This actually had a
fight.
game as well, though, Dave, and it went to straight to DVD release. Well, straight to video releases of Best of the Best 2 and Best of the Best 3.
Well, yeah, I was just going to
Best
say
of the
this
Best
movie has
times
lots.
9,000. Do you know what I mean?
It's got a really great speech from Eric Roberts when he's just going, and he's talking because James Earl Jones is in this movie.
He
just
is,
goes,
yeah.
Don't take this away from me, God. This is the only thing I'm good at. I love it. Don't ruin it. You're like, all right, you're overacting, but that's what a B movie is.
Sound like he's taking a shit there, Dave.
But I'm not gonna lie, the end fight sequences, particularly between, even though Eric Roberts doesn't know martial arts.
Yes, he does.
Does he?
Yeah, I believe he's a black belt, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he's crap in this movie, but
He's in Jeet Kune Do.
actually, I think you'll find
As in
it's
G, I
pronounced-
have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, I think you'll find it's pronounced Jikundo, Mr. Burhan.
I know, I was taking the piss, Dave.
no.
Sarcasm.
I love. Oh, piss off, you burger tit twat. Actually, I
you,
have
Dave.
no idea how big the nipples are, so I retract that comment.
You love my nipples, don't you, Dave?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, that was so gay. I love this movie, and I think as crass and crap and poorly produced as it was, I still think to this day the end fight sequences in this movie, particularly Philip Ree versus Tommy Lee versus him, they're actually brothers, they're twins, and that's and I don't mean to slag off America. But let's be honest, all the best martial art movie fight scenes are made in Japan. So this was kind of interesting at the time because the end fight scene between Tommy Lee and Dae Han, even though it was Taekwondo, which is where my belts come from. So that's not me bragging. That's just, I have an affinity to Taekwondo. Were absolutely fantastic, and there's no denying as well when it comes to Eric Roberts getting his shoulder dislocated. Sorry, people, spoilers. Getting his shoulder dislocated, but carrying on with the fights. It's just one of those great movies that if you're having a bad day, and we know it's bollocks, we know it's fake, we know it's stupid, but you're having a bad day. I guarantee people, watch Best of the Best. It will pick you up. It's just a bunch of ragtags forced together, and you got Chris Penn in it who is Travis, and he's a racist twat, but he comes around at the end. And it has one of my favorite lines in a movie ever, which is Travis or Chris Penn fights the opponent, and they go to a draw, so they have to break concrete blocks. And so he breaks them with himself, and he goes like all the way down apart from two, and then the bloke next to him breaks them all the way through, and then the referee comes up with white gloves and starts counting them, and Chris Penn just looks at the referee and just goes, "Why are you counting them?" It's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's a B movie, which is what we're talking about. It's a B movie, but it's an absolutely fantastic and, dare I say, uplifting movie.
It sounds like it would fit in right with like American Ninja. Like I'm surprised it's
Pretty
not
much.
a canon film.
Don't you dare compare this to American Ninja.
I say pretty much. It's basically, this film is Bloodsport, but with a cleaner cut look to it.
Yeah.
And
heart. More heart than Bloodsport.
And like Bloodsport, it had so many sequels. I think the thing that made it stand out was at the time, the Roberts twins, Julia and Eric, both basically managed to make themselves synonymous on screen. There were big things.
And
around
he's
this point.
really good in this. Eric
Yeah.
Roberts is really good in this. And
He plays a good bad guy.
We're going to come back to that stupid thing I always say, but Eric Roberts has really good hair in this movie.
Dave, do you watch the movie, or do you just bash off to Eric Roberts' hair?
Just make sure you don't get it in the hair, because that's a no-no.
Yeah, it's no.
Oh, shame on you all. Fuck off.
All right. Is there anything else you have to say? Anything else anybody has to say about Best of the
Well,
Best?
as I said, synonymously, it seems like the most of the movies that have gone through it that Dave are defending here are movies that are
People with good hair.
they're of their
People
time.
getting
Yeah, but yeah, like
violent.
that critter had really good spikes. The movies themselves have kind of a niche market about them. The appeal nowadays would be kind of niche. You'd be like looking at them and go, okay, this movie was good because of.
Do you know what? No, in my defense, the Best of the Best got cinematic release.
Yeah, no, but it was around the
Yeah,
time.
but so
It was
did 50
because
Shades of Grey. That's not a marker of excellence.
a lot of the
This is right.
a lot of the late
if I can-
80s, 90s though were kung fu action movies, and you can tell Dave was kind of a huge.
Can I add
burly
an
dude.
If you're
honourable
going to choose
mention?
Hold on.
action, can't you choose some Jackie Chan in
See,
there?
here's the thing. I don't know if we have enough time to add because we've already gone 2.5 hours. Because I know it's going to be a.
Oh crap! Right.
I'll let you.
mention.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
let you
just going to mention
one
the
more,
name,
that's
and
it.
then I won't talk about it. But people, honourable mention: No Retreat, No Surrender.
See, that was a better movie than Best of the Best.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. I love
But it's
No
the
Retreat, No
movie that
Surrender.
you can actually see Van Damme actually perform at his height. And you know the bit when he does the jump split spin kick in the face and knocks the bloke out? He actually knocked him out.
Dave, just tell me that you had The Last Dragon in there as well.
No. Still got class. Anyway, moving on. Oh shit, I should have put this movie in. But anyway, honourable mention, people. No Retreat, No Surrender. It's a cheese fest. It's terrible. The acting is bollocks. But
I
Van
know
Damme...
the acting is bollocks, but it's hilariously bad.
Yeah, but Van Damme is on his A game in the fight scenes in that movie.
All right, we got to speed through the fifth one. But
Oh, this is going to get me a lot of hatred, but I'm going to say it because I love it, but I don't consider it a mainstream movie. Are you ready?
which one?
Roadhouse.
That's a mainstream movie. It's a cult hit, but it's a popular cult hit. I've seen parts of it. I get why people like this movie. I really do. It wears its heart on its sleeve so much. You either get it or you don't. It's a time capsule movie, is what it is.
Miguel, do you watch full films? Because every single
Yeah.
one of Dave's films, you've said I've seen parts of it.
That's usually code for I haven't seen all of it. I've seen bits and pieces here. I mean, these are very. They're out of my time, is what it is. A lot of these are late '80s, early '90s stuff. I'll be honest. My viewing practices only go so far. I'm trying to fit them in more, but I've just been busy a lot lately, and it's just hard for me to sit down and watch movies that much. I mean, I really got to devote time and patience and attention to sitting down for these movies, and my ADHD really does not allow me to do that. So
Yeah, I know what you mean.
and to be fair, what are you getting on me for? Most of these movies you haven't said much about either.
I know, it was just funny because you said I've seen parts of all of them.
Yeah.
It was just funny.
It's basically
Yes, shut up, you movement-loving cow.
it's
Oh
basically
my god!
Jesus Christ, Dave, come
I
on.
could get offended by that, you know.
Don't get
That was,
offended.
I'm not going
I
to,
say it in
because-
jest.
It's
you know
like in
that.
Family
Come on.
Guy, you know, it's like, now we've made a joke about you, you're part of the family.
Yeah.
Brian?
He said Moomins. If he says Moomins, that's fine. Because I will.
That's like you moomin loving cow. That's not just offensive, that's hyper offensive.
But I'm allowed to have a little
come
bit.
on.
in
I
that
could
because
beat
even
Dave
though I
in a
love the
fight with
movements-
one hand tied behind my back.
Yeah, at least it's
After-
better than
after-
Burhan, you slag.
Yeah. After our conversation last night, Nina, you just made me drop a shitload of my credit card that I can't afford on fucking Moomins.
Well, no
But
one
at the
told
same
you to
time-
spend the money, Dave.
But it's the Moomins.
Exactly. All I said was the Moomins, and then he goes and spends money.
Dave, I love you, but sometimes I want to slap you.
All right.
I'm the
But
Moomin.
I love you, but sometimes I want to kick you square in the balls.
That's fine.
Aw, you guys are adorable.
I've had
All
4
right,
kids, I'm fine.
back to Roadhouse. Dave, I'll let you defend this movie. Go ahead.
I love Roadhouse.
And I have to get the elephant out of the room,
Roadhouse.
which is the Family Guy episode that you beat me to it then. Which Roadhouse, 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 Roadhouse. I can beat
Roadhouse.
you up, but my why my scrotum is pressed squarely to my chest.
This was when Patrick Swayze tried kung fu. It was hilarious because you could tell he was a dancer and he had all those like funny kicks. Plus, this was the film.
He's got the movement. He's got like the ability. This is why I love this movie. I mean, I love this movie because he's a badass in it. But
but that's the thing as well, and also the constant sex. There's like boobies galore in this movie.
Isn't that his wife in this?
Yeah,
Kelly Preston.
Yeah.
Me and my mates, when we did martial arts, always referred to Roadhouse as the martial art movie where bloke couldn't kick above his waist. Because if you watch this movie, he can't actually kick above his waist. Although it has one of my favorite lines, which is, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison."
And I've always been bothered by that line. It's like, is he making fun of himself or the other person? Like, it sounds tough if you say it right, but if you think about it, you're like, wait a minute, who's insulted? Who's supposed to be insulted in that exchange?
Yeah.
But the best bit is, who cares? Because he got his throat ripped out.
The funny thing about this movie is you have rapists in nearly every part of this film. It's like some girl gets attempted raped. He comes in and goes, "Hey, this is my bar," and starts like beating the shit out of the guy. And you just sit there and go, "Yay, I saw you in Dirty Dancing, so you must be a badass because you said nobody puts baby in a corner."
But there's two things I love about this movie. I absolutely adore, which is Dalton's when he's in the bar, the fact that he goes like, here are the rules, deal with it. I love that scene. And then the bloke comes up and he's like, "I'm not taking this," because he's being paid off, and Dalton just gives him the envelope with the money and says like, "Fuck off." The other scene I love, which is, even though I'm taking the piss out of his martial arts skills in this movie, there's no denying that Patrick Swayze, when he throws down this movie, is absolutely badass.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
More so in the bar scenes than outside, where it's kind of like, enclosed and confined, and he's just like dirty fighting. And then obviously we get the bloke, I forget his name, we get the bloke from Blade.
Wesley Snipes?
No.
Oh, old guy, Whistler.
Yeah, and he's really, really good in this movie.
Most of the time he would talk like this.
And he's handing the torch to Dalton, and I just think the shit this movie gets, and I know it's a B movie, even though it got, released in theaters. I just think there's so many great moments in this movie, particularly the fight scenes, even though Patrick Swayze, even though I haven't practiced Taekwondo in a very long time, I can still raise my leg above my head.
Let me ask you a question, Dave. Do you legitimately like it, or is it kind of like the New Age where it's like, I like it because it's so cheesy and over the top? Do you like it truly, or do you just like it ironically like most people do?
No, I like it truly.
Okay.
But I'm not going to lie, there's a little pinch of irony.
There's a load of things in this house. Loads of rapists. It's your job to keep those fellas in line.
By the way, you're thinking of Chris Christopherson. That's who it was.
Oh, shit. I can't lift my leg above my hip. Who wants some?
Just remember, use those dance techniques just to knock that guy out. It's the same thing. It just all works that way.
No, I adore this movie, and it's technically it's an A-list movie, but it gets a lot of heat, and I adore this movie. I really do. I know it's been blasted, which is why we're talking about it, blasted into the B category, but I adore this movie.
Did you guys know there's actually an off-Broadway musical adaptation adaptation of this?
Of Roadhouse.
Are you shitting me?
It's not with music. What they do is they just adapted the
They just
script.
dance.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. It's marketed as a comedy because it's kind of marketed in that same campy sort of sense of like it's 80s cheese. They basically just reenact the movie, but it's over the top like cheesy acting. I've heard it's actually really funny.
I'd see that.
I watched that.
I want to star in that. That just sounds so fun.
What, as Patrick Swayze?
As one of the
to wear a wig.
rapists, I don't really mind.
Oh.
I could stand there and just like this girl like screaming her lungs out, and I'm standing there going, "Hey, honey, you look great." And then you have this Patrick Swayze wannabe with great hair kicking my ass.
Me.
No,
Brilliant.
I want you in
Me.
the Patrick Swayze wig and
Yes!
the tight trousers. That would be hilarious.
How about?
And then every time I
they-
kick
they-
them, I just stand there, look at the crowd, and go, "Roadhouse."
And then your wig falls off.
By the way, did
Peter,
you,
yay!
Sometimes every time I turn left turn, I actually say Roadhouse. They should put me in it because A, I've got great hair, and
oh my god. The-
and B, without any practicing whatsoever, even though I haven't done it for a while, I'm pretty sure I can still kick up to my waist.
Are you?
Seriously, watch it back, right? He doesn't do a roundhouse or a spinning
Dave,
kick.
you remember
it's
that-
higher than his
Do you remember that
waist.
time that you kicked that guy's ass at the kebab place? Please tell me after you did it, you said Roadhouse.
No, I didn't. Fuck!
Damn!
Ah!
By the way,
I hate
if you want to know
Burhan.
about this story, you check back at Burhan and the Boy. It's in one of those episodes. But he told me he did a spin kick to the guy, and I'm just like, you could have just said it. I would have.
Bollocks, Burhan, bollocks.
I would've-
Where were you then?
I
You
would've-
should have fucking stayed in the spot.
Yeah, I would have jumped out the bushes. I would have jumped out the bushes and went, Dave, do it now.
Hold on, you guys are gonna
Roadhouse.
you guys are gonna like what I'm about to say. I'm actually reading the Wikipedia. Did you know at one point the NYPD actually used the 3 rules clip in one of their training exercises?
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, I'm reading it here in on the Wikipedia page. It was reported that the NYPD were using a scene from Roadhouse as part of a mandatory 3-day retraining course for up to 21,000 cops. And I just posted the link about it in the Skype chat. And it was the 3 rules scene that they were using because they actually played the clip at the bottom of the article.
It's a good scene, but I like to think that American law enforcement is based upon slightly more, I don't know, educated sequences.
Yeah, I wouldn't use a clip from Roadhouse in like a training exercise. That
That is such a
Sorry,
badass...
Miguel.
I would.
Let me cut you off.
I would.
You mean-
If I was doing
you mean-
security and I was training people, I'd be like, right, this is a scene from Roadhouse. And I'd be like, why did you show it to us?
You're
Because
both wrong.
gonna be on the
You
test.
have to say Roadhouse.
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 Peter, yay! So I had to keep saying that. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Dave. Good movie. It was one of those when Patrick Swayze in his heyday was in everything.
Yeah, but you
they
get
they
what
tried
I'm
to make him an
saying, which
action
is,
star.
no,
He was
it
in
was-
Point
it
Break.
was-
And by the way, the Point Break remake, fuck you.
Oh,
Fuck you with a rusty knife. Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, that's Point Break.
Yeah.
I think you mean Patrick Swayze and me.
Anyway,
Yeah, why didn't they get you in the remake? I'd watch it if it was Dave Wade in the remake of Point
Dave
Break. I'd
Wade
be
and
like,
Michael Burhan. That would have been easy.
I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work.
I would have the cool Patrick Swayze hair. And then Dave would be like the Keanu Reeves guy that infiltrates. And I'm just like,
Are
Dave.
you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'd watch that.
Caught my first tube today.
You know what? Let's crowdfund this, Dave. Point Break. The musical.
and then Dave.
Point Dave.
Burhan and Dave Wade. Point Break. The musical.
That has to be called Point Dave.
Point Dave!
I want-
Yes! Point Wade. Point Wade.
Burhan, knock something up and make me a picture.
I will. You know what I'm
I
gonna
got
do?
that.
I'm gonna write the script for this this week because I've got I've got a lot of time on my hands, so I'll write the script for this. Or-
it'll
I've
end
got-
up.
I've
It'll
got
be right
Point-
up there. It'll be right up there with this job for hire and Silent Hill Genesis. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I got.
Hey, Silent Hill Genesis is still gonna eventually happen at some point.
Are you
Once
ready? Are you ready?
Konami
people?
starts
I
talking to
got-
me again.
Shut up, Burhan. I'm trying to talk. I've got my my lyric for the opera version of Burhan and Dave do Point Break. I'm gonna lie on my back and fire my gun wildly in the air.
And we
There you
need
go.
loads of stunts, so this has to be directed
I
by
can't because
Michael
if I'm-
Bay's
if I'm-
Mexican
if I'm
equivalent,
Johnny in
Miguel
this
Bay.
movie, I can't jump off a fence because my knee will give out because it got fucked
Don't worry,
up. when I
Dave.
was
Stunt
a-
doubles, stunt doubles. We'll just get Keanu Reeves cast as your stunt double. It will work.
All right, guys.
He's not doing much.
Is there anything else anybody wants to say before we wrap things up? Because we've been by the time we get our plugs out, it'll have been 3 hours. So I want to start wrapping things up. So anything else anybody want to say about Point Break? Oh, not Point Break, Roadhouse.
Yes.
Actually, you know what, right?
Roadhouse.
I love Roadhouse, but honorable mention, even though it was really, really well received, but it gets a lot of shit. Honorable mention, Point Break, amazing movie.
Yeah,
Apart
definitely better than whatever the remake's going to be like. We'll give it that.
Oh, God. Hey, Hollywood, if you're listening to this, which I know you're not, but I'm going to say...
I wish.
Stop bastardizing my youth, you wankers.
I will say, speaking of Dave's youth and my youth, if you guys are interested...
All right, you bummed me in the past.
If you are interested in Tim Burton, if you're interested in Superman, if you're interested in finding out what happened to the Nicolas Cage version of Superman what became Superman Returns, I would suggest to go to the Death of Superman Returns. So it's TODSH.com. I don't know why he did that. Which is a John Shep.
It's H. It's H.
Oh, whatever. Google it. But it's a John Shep directed Superman documentary. It's got Burton in there. It's got all the conflicting points in there as well. The producer who had this thing about the Thanagarian snare beast, Kevin Smith's in it as well. It's a really interesting documentary. I've just watched it myself. You can download it from the website. It's pretty cheap actually as well. He funded this thing on Kickstarter. It's a great little doc talking about why why this movie came to be, why it happened, and why it didn't happen. They spent a lot of money on this movie, and apparently, from all people in consensus, the reason why Tim Burton says Joel Schumacher killed 2 Tim Burton movies, the Batman franchise, and Superman Lives, because after the Batman movie bombed, the studio lost interest in making comic book movies.
And I never thought I'd say this, but Nick Cage looked bloody good in that scene.
And this was actually coming from his Oscar as well. So he was cast as Clark Kent at that time. And it's actually quite funny watching how much input he had in the character. He literally has a lot of input. You see wardrobe tests, you see costume tests, you see him talking to the developers and the designers. You got guys who didn't even know anything about Superman involved in a movie. And you get to see at first hand studio politics at work. So if you're a fan of these movies, check it out. That's a plug for Mr. John Shep, and that's a nice little free plug for him, because it's a amazing, amazing doc. I watched it, I got my copy, I watched it, and it was just pure fried gold, in the words of Dave Wade.
I gotta really buy this film. TDOSLWH.com. It's The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened.com, those initials. It's $29.99 for the Blu-ray, $19.99 for the mid-pack DVD, which is just the film and some deleted scenes, or you can just get the film as is for $14.99. It's just a complete feature film. It's so polarizing and so great, and it's the one thing I will say about it. It pulls no punches. It tells you the full story and doesn't give you it as like a half-assed treatment. It lets you know exactly what happened and shows you the stuff that bled over, including Kevin Spacey, who was originally chosen as Lex Luthor in that movie, being Lex Luthor in Superman Returns. Better than what's his nuts that's in the new
I'm still kind of a bit I'm more looking forward to that movie than I am Suicide Squad, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story for another time. We've been burning the midnight oils, so let's start wrapping things up. Burhan, plug away.
YouTube.com/The Nerd Genius. The YouTube channel is going to be transitioning after this week. So this week I'm going to be doing the same old videos because I've managed to secure myself a location to stay in for a little bit. So it'll be myself, the Minions, doing the Ask the Minions. And we've got a nice little doozy one on that. I'll be doing some more little videos and also talking about the top 5 childhood things that hit you right in the feels. So that includes video games, movies, whatever. I'll talk about my top 5 favourite moments that hit me right in the feels from when I was a little minor. Oh,
crap! You
Dave?
just stole what me and Michelin were going to do.
Oh, well, you can still do it. You can elaborate on that. I'm just doing my top 5 on that. And Also, ladies and gents, once the week is over, from Monday I will be doing the channel transition. Now, genius.com will effectively transition as well. We're still going to have content updates. Still have Miguel putting up his own little articles and bits and pieces on the site. But you'll also have a reboot on the site itself. So it will include a large portion called My Journey, which will be me going through the certain things that I have to go through in terms of where I'm going from this point of me, being on the streets, to actually finding my way out of it. So I'll be enlightening people in the homeless situation, shooting this documentary, which is going to become a YouTube vid, shot mostly on my iPhone, all for free. So no monetization on that one as well for you guys. And you're going to be following me as I try to find myself some freelance work, get myself out of my situation, and also make my way to LA, because that's the whole kind of premise behind this. So loads of updates, loads of new cool things coming. You won't see as flashy as you used to in terms of the effects and the other stuff. And I also have a music video coming out that I directed for the awesome Megaran and also Bag of Tricks Cat. That's coming out in August, so make sure you check it out. I've just had the editor come back to me on it. He loves my work. Apparently my camera work's been amazing for that, and my direction was great for that project as well. So that's coming. What We Are is going to be out by the end of this week now. No punches pulled on that. This Job for Hire episode 3, which will be the last This Job for Hire for now. It's taken 2 years for that to come out, but that's going to finally come out because why not? I've got some free time, so might as well do some editing. And last but not least, there'll be showreel stuff and bits and pieces. So if you go over to my own personal showreel channel, which is youtube.com/Michael Burhan, and you can check out all my showreel bits and pieces, films that I've been in, stuff that I've basically worked on. And as Miguel was pointing out about Silent Hill Genesis, that will eventually come back out. The whole thing about projects is you have to retool, you have to re-pitch them to companies when they go into their twilight. The whole branding of that thing has gone up in the air, and I've just got to figure out what I'm going to do in order to kind of revamp the series. I still think it's got legs, but Anyway, I'll leave it over to everybody else. And for those who've added themselves to my channel, 387 strong, thank you.
All right, Annina, where can we find you?
AnninaKaski.com and Twitter as well. Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz, but everything's on AnninaKaski.com. I'll be involved in some short film projects, so when those are out and finished, I'll post links. And I'm also doing some YouTube videos at the moment, so soon.
And I can't wait for that. I can't wait for
Yeah.
Annina's stuff. Oh, michaelburhan.com, my new site. Check it out. It's currently a Facebook page. Site's in development.
Annina, do me a sexy biscuit.
Yes, I will.
And speaking of which, Dave, where can we find you?
You can find me at the end of the universe, cuddling with Douglas Adams, peering into the background and saying, "So,
I'm reading that book.
where the fuck is this restaurant you speak so highly of?"
Is that a Hitchhiker's reference, or is that a
Yep.
Doctor Who reference?
Hitchhikers.
The movie or the books?
Thank you for getting it.
Yeah, I said I'm reading the restaurant at the end of the universe at the moment.
Yes, such a great book. Oh, by the way, for you guys, if anyone wants any of my books, I'll post some pictures up on my Facebook timeline. I've got tons and tons of books that you guys, if you want to use them, or if you want to borrow them, or if you want to keep them, let me know.
I want your Marvel book.
Oh, no, that's my Bible. That stays with me.
He needs something to read when he's, using the bushes because he can't find a public restroom.
Well, I've got a gym membership, so I can always find a public restroom. 24-hour gym.
Fair enough.
Not
Oh,
when
by
you-
the way, folks.
Not when you get caught short, son. Just saying.
By the way, folks, Lawn Boys Post 1975 on YouTube. Check out Dave Wade's videos. He's got his Let's Plays that he does. He also has his Vloggy Waffles series where he talks about whatever's on his mind.
He doesn't do a Let's Play, Miguel. He does what I would call gameplays. It's a different thing entirely.
Okay, because gameplays aren't live. Let's Plays are basically...
No, they're more kind of game reviews as you play the game.
Ah, okay. So there is a difference. Okay, I gotta remember my terminology. But yeah, gameplays of older systems, including the ZX Spectrum, among others. See what I did there?
Thank you for saying Zed. I love you, Miguel.
I love you too, Dave. But yeah, check him out on YouTube, Lone Boys Post 1975. And that is it for me. You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/unmovieshow. I haven't posted much because I've been just really busy, and with my computer issues, I just haven't had a chance to put up new videos on the YouTube channel. But if you're interested, go on our Twitter page, twitter.com/unmovieshow. You'll find the link to our YouTube page. Once I get my computer stuff sorted out, hopefully by next month, I should be able to post up new videos from our older days. And check out retrounlim.com. Our stuff is now up on the main screen, the Retro Unlim Network. So you can find clips of the Untitled Movie Show, as well as Burhan and the Boy, Slamcast, and I Got Gameplay. Speaking of which, tomorrow we're actually going to be recording an episode of Slamcast. So you'll probably be getting an episode of Slamcast early due to scheduling issues. Nick Karacek. Shout out to Nick, by the way, who would have been on here, but Burhan was here to record, so he, I gave him the night off. He'll be doing the episode tomorrow because he has got issues on Friday, and Thursday's the only other time we can get Brandon. So we do appreciate you.
What time? Because I have to set my alarm.
It'll probably be right around the same time as always. So I would say
Sweet.
8 o'clock on our end. So yeah, you might want to you might want to check up on there.
Yeah, they've got a lot to talk about on that as well, and it's a shame that I'm not going to be there.
Me either. I would have loved to have been on there, but that's fine. I mean, Thursday's fine. So yeah, check that out. That'll probably be coming up early this week. So check out Slamcast. Check out retrounlim.com for the Retro Unlim Network stuff. IGG, obviously, we've mentioned before, just to give a plug there, even though I don't know if Burhan's going to be doing this week's episode. Still check it out. I mean, who's taking over the show, out of curiosity?
Oh, well, I Got Gameplay. Sean Michelin is the new lead host on that. And it's whoever basically puts with him.
And sorry, Burhan, because well, you know this because pass the torch, but Burhan the Boy is now become Michelin and the Boy, and
I really got to give Sean a lot of props for really picking up the slack of sorts. He's really coming through.
I just love him because he's Canadian, eh?
Yeah,
Isn't he
your love of Canadian.
Isn't he part Eskimo also?
Yes,
he is.
He has that look to him. Like, I want to make a movie with like a wise old Eskimo type and cast him in the role.
He's gonna send me a bottle of Molson X.
And by the way, ladies and gents, I think most people would get this. Separated at birth, Apocalypse and Ivan Ooze. Just saying.
Yeah, that's something that we need to touch on next week. By the way, 2 weeks from now when we do our next episode, we're going to be going back to our retrospective series. We're going to be doing our first director retrospective in a while. We're going to be looking at the films of Roland Emmerich. And I'm going to try to see if I can get a guess.
That's going to take fucking 4 hours.
Well, he hasn't done that much. We'll check that out. But I'm going to try to get a guest on here as well to fill in. I'm
and you owe me a sexy biscuits, you prick.
I did one last week. I had Nick record it. He still probably got it. I did one over the radio. We did it right after the show. I don't know if Burhan was here.
I've got it, Dave. I've got it in your sexy biscuits folder.
It must have popped out my end, but bearing in mind.
Well, what I'll do, Dave, I'll transfer all the sexy biscuits onto a hard drive, and then when I come and see you next week, I'll deliver the phone and I'll deliver your sexy biscuits. In my defense,
Miguel, my internet is 15 years behind you.
Plus, he's also kind of intoxicated at the moment because I can tell he's drunk.
Oh, piss off, you wanker.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, for myself, for Michael Burhan, for Dave Wade, and for Annina Kasky, this has been the Untitled Movie Show. Take us out, Jay.
Celebrity voices are impersonated. No celebrities were harmed in filming of this episode. Excuse me, sir. The show's over. Get away, zit face.
Bye-bye, everybody.